That's good. Yeah, good, good. Yeah, I pulled in, it was 101 when, I know, and then now my truck's in 95, so it's breaking. I was like, I'm
Right away.
I am.
Work.
I was one on the agenda. I was excited. I'm number one.
Anything out of order.
Okay. Fair enough.
Wow, wow.
No, some of the other towns are very, that's what it is. But I'll.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
But I'll sit down, but no, yeah. No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody called and said that they were going to, I told them to go to the, that's just where you gotta go, not for us, so. No, I don't have
Yeah.
the spreadsheet, I'll find out.
It seems nice in here. Yeah, this is nice.
Only does the light take there.
So we get on it. Right, because Peter's, I know, Ray is one of your family good. Oh, well, yeah, yeah, I think you did say that, yeah. Oh, yes, each other.
Oh, yeah. Voted buying a car. I thought August was when. Right, it's gonna be done.
Is that what it was? Oh, maybe that's. Okay.
That's when he's.
He's
moving.
Yeah.
I don't have that on the website yet, so.
Yeah, I can share.
Hey, Sarah, what?
I'm sure you ready.
I don't have the budget, I gotta check, I don't have it on.
So I asked you that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, Ray. It's free class. It's going? Thank you, James. Good, good. Oh, wow. That'll take long for that. Been a little old.
Got an interior seat though.
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
That's what happens when I get to work. That's what it's doing now. So, to get it done. Yeah. But they get much better. Yeah. Oh. That's for stuff like that. Well, that's what, he's special. You know?
Vice chair.
You gotta do it there. Well, still not everything on get one of that's fine where. Opening one eating and everything. Put it on. And I should print it out on my phone with you. It'll be great. Yeah. And get my cat to use there. I got to come back.
You just have to join, yeah, in your new town.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Here you go.
Great.
You're right.
Thank you. You get this, you get this something from your client?
Two bars.
Yeah, it's more than that.
One's for Bell Street, which is also before the planning board right now.
Okay.
And then the other one is for an appeal of a planning. Too long. You are live. We are live.
Hi, here we go, the big moment. Ready when you are.
And, now I'm scrolling through Rachel's notes and couldn't find anything. Whatever. Open. Like, okay, we'll get to open this. Meeting. On, July 2nd, 2026.
And entertain a motion.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Seconded.
Alright, all in favor?
Aye. There you go.
Passed.
Good job.
Opened.
And then we're writing here.
Oh, that's right, you did.
Okay, so. First. The first applicant. Let's see, was it 46 Depot Street? Yep, where the applicants are? Yep. I guess I'd say, motion to continue the public hearing for 26 Depot Street.
Motion to open the continued public hearing.
Right. So move.
Second.
Right, all in favor?
Aye. Share my screen.
While we're doing that, you can introduce yourself.
Yes, hello everyone. Again, David Pine, representing the developer. See you all again. So I want to just give you a few updates. After we last met, we took some of the changes, and there's some significant changes to the plan. Hopefully, that are reflected in just what you guys have in front of you. I want to give an update on kind of some of the changes we made, answer any questions we may have, give a general update, and I know we want to schedule that site visit for mid-July. After the meeting, or I guess one thing we did talk to some of the neighbors that were here last time. Some of the changes in the plan reflect what they asked for. There's a fence on the kind of nearest neighbor close to us. That was important to us. And, we even talked about possibly cutting some trees in some of the neighbors' yards if they think it's like close to their house, which we're more than happy to do. I did look into the pipe. I've been a little more curiosity if anything. I could not find anything, but that does not mean that, after we discussed, could definitely be there, but whatever happens, we will make it right. But I did try. So, it was a good conversation after the fact. Two things I just want to clarify. One was a very gross miscalculation by me. The affordable rents for one bedroom in Upton are about $2,200. So I was pretty off. And we applied, we're trying to go under that 80% AMI. So we applied to go $2,000. So it'd be less than the other kind of projects in town. So that's what we're trying to do with costs so we can keep costs down. So, and then the other thing I just want to clarify too is when I talk about local or veterans preference, those preferences are set to the affordable ones. So I apologize if you guys knew them, that was obvious. I just wanted to make sure because it's one of those things I talk about all the time, but I want to, that people don't necessarily know that. So.
They asked the question, so
Of course.
the percentage of units that are affordable,
Mhm.
it's, that also includes, that's inclusive of the vets.
Yes, yeah. Those units they'll have local and veterans preference, but the market rates, the state doesn't allow us to make that preference for the market rate ones. It's just the affordable ones you're allowed to set a preference to. So I just, again, want to make sure that was crystal clear as well, along with the rents as well. So, With that, I can kind of get into some of the changes. I can, if I can share now. Oh.
You are a co-host, so you should be able to.
Sec. Having a little trouble sharing and apologize. I can just get into it and then hopefully that's my computer acts up to shoot. It's just gotta restart, so I'm just gonna restart. Sorry,
This happened last time.
I know, it's a new computer. Yes.
Well, the only thing I don't have up, because you just sent it, was the photometric plan. But everything else is up on the website, so I'll go ahead and.
So I guess I mentioned the fence, and also I gave the plan to the landscapers. We tried to put some more landscaping, obviously kind of near there since he's the closest neighbor. Our landscaper will be kind of coming back with another more in-depth plan. I'll share it later. We added parking spaces is the biggest thing looking at it. So I thought that was a very fair point by the board about the parking. So we are now at, I believe, 116 spaces, which should be kind of more than enough to, accommodate the seniors. I know I hate comparing projects sometimes because every project's different. I did walk the project next door, the housing authority. I believe they have 62 units, what it says online, or 64, and they had 52 parking spaces. Now it's a different level of affordability, but I was curious and wanted to share that with the board as well. So the squiggly line you see on the plan is the no cut line. So that is we're proposing to keep everything. One thing you might ask yourself is in the back of the property, the no cut line is very you're probably looking at it like they can go further. I asked our engineers the same. They said they cannot due to grading and some of the kind of snow storage and stormwater things they have back there. What that does not mean is we can't plant more trees back there, which I've instructed our landscape team to look at and make sure you kind of can plan and go put up trees or shrubs or something that will act as a barrier. So there is that is that and is that. I just want to make that note. On the plan, we added 100-foot buffer from the kind of wetlands that's across the street that we were questioning. Now that we have the approximate buffer, and it's not as I say approximate because we can't flag on other people's wetlands. It's not a concern whatsoever. But when we met with Concom during the tech review, we said if there's anything outside just the entrance, we would file an NOI. That clearly is the case, or it's close enough is the case. So we will be filing an NOI with Concom as well. So that should be in the next month or two. The light fixtures have been changed. We went, more of the village package. So I think those were a better fit. Another kind of really good suggestion. The buildings were moved when, we added the parking. We had to move them strategically. I don't want to say they moved like further away from the neighborhood, but we did try to shift them in ways that would maybe be less intrusive. So that was made. Let's see what else. On ADA units, we believe 3 of them will be, handicap accessible. So we're working, we'll have a more definitive number on that at a later date, and we'll talk about kind of the floor plan of those units. So, these changes took a little bit to make on the engineering standpoint, and because of that, obviously, we didn't give Beals and Thomas enough time to peer review everything. So there's, we just saw that's on us. We wanted to make sure we got the kind of most up-to-date investment plan we could. So, so that is, those are the kind of updates right now. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. Obviously, I don't have my engineer here tonight, so I'll have to, might have to kick a few things to the next meeting, but open to anything.
Yeah, I mean, Chair,
Yes.
person. On the north, are those additional trees that are in circular?
No, so oh yeah, yes, those are trees. You can see the fence posts or the little like circles.
Mhm.
And then we're proposing like a full kind of tree, tree line there.
Oh, got it.
So yeah, no, we want to, I think after talking to plan and talking to the neighbors there, that's obviously the most affected house. So, we want to make sure there's enough area there. So, yeah, that's planting of trees and fencing. So,
Got it. So you'll be removing the trees up to the fence line
yeah,
and then just replanting those. You can't keep any.
correct. Yeah, I mean, yeah, correct. And we want to, I know sometimes the neighbors will ask us to plant things on there, like, they want to plant certain trees on their property too, and we can zigzag them, so we can work through that. Whatever is easiest. So, and
Thank you for that.
yeah, no problem.
And I noticed you shifted pretty much, there were two buildings south of that tree line. Now there's just only one,
Yes,
which I think looks better.
yes, yeah.
And maybe you shifted the one on the left of that just a tiny bit
Yeah,
by making it bigger.
yeah, we had to shift everything, obviously, but we did try to keep in mind that shifting it so the neighbors it's less income, cumbersome for that. So I think the engineer did a good job with that. So
Yeah, it looks much better than the original one.
thank you.
I just have one question about the snow storage. Is there any concern that it's sort of right at the entrance there and kind of abutting the fence?
Yeah, we did. We tried to keep a little separation, and that is going to be, that will be we're going to keep that lane clear because that's the emergency access. We can certainly look at that. There will be the fence in the tree line separating it, so still we backed off, but maybe we can look at
Looks like
reducing.
there's a couple of them too.
Yes, yeah. Snow storage is actually, it's interesting internally right now because for the past like 8 years, like we never used up all the snow storage, and we like this year we most certainly used up a lot of the snow storage on properties, and all our snow budgets got blown through the roof. So, I think it's good. We're being very mindful, like, let's plan for the 10 years, not the past 6 years we had before this. So,
Okay, thank you.
And all the structures are on septic and they all connect to that main area.
correct. Yes. Yeah. And like we said, last time we were designing it to try to be like very conservative. Like, we could honestly have a smaller area, but we don't want to, we'd rather overbuild and, spend more money than if there ever be like septic issues.
Right.
So,
On the south side, you're keeping a lot of trees on the south side. How far from the border are these, the kind of the kept tree line that you're doing? The closest ones, right behind the building.
I can have the engineer maybe like put in an exact distance. I just, did he have what?
I see something over here.
Yeah. That's 14 feet, right?
The line.
Yeah. That's what that is, so.
Yeah, I mean, but this is essentially following the property line, so to
Yeah.
me, it's like you're not chopping down somebody else's trees.
Right.
Somebody else's property. That's what that means to me. when I
Yeah.
see that.
Yep. So that property line would obviously is probably more than 14 feet. I mean, that's 14. The end of the property, 20, 25, maybe somewhere around there.
Really the west, though.
Let me try to share one more time to Rachel summary.
I think I might have to make you another co-host, Dan, because I
Restarting.
think it dropped. Yeah,
Yeah.
so let's see.
Sorry, it's not gonna do it.
I know the other thing we had, in the past is that, so that's to remain.
Mhm.
We had before where we had like, specified a buffer, and then we had an issue because we didn't say vegetative buffer, but I wonder if, so that's what you're holding for existing.
Yeah.
You could say potentially this line could go in a little further to add a vegetative buffer.
Well, so I guess I'll just say that because there's other sheets will probably show like different grading things and kind of a different stormwater things designed is why those lines are there. What I'm gonna bring in is like a landscaping plan that will have like more of a buffer, and if that plan, we get to the end of the project, like we have to plant what's there, kind of, that immortalizes it, the group set of
Yeah.
plans. So I think that would kind of, maybe if I'm understanding you right, that would probably take care of what you're proposing.
I think so.
Yeah, yeah. So whatever landscaping we may come in, you say, hey, would you do some more trees over in this area? And we add them. And if it gets recorded and it's approved, that's what we have to do. So, and again, it's a rental. So it's not like we're going to plant everything and we're going to hand it off to HOA and, they die. It's like, oh, what's their problem now? Like we're renting it and we're in town in a lot of ways. So we're going to maintain it. So, yeah.
And that's what you're doing by the fence too. So you're showing that you're putting those trees there.
Yeah, but yep, no, those trees are, and yet again, not on every plan. Sometimes they drop them, but yeah, no, those trees will be there.
And you'll have, at that time, we'll have as-built of the existing trees as well?
I'm gonna wait the engineering question. If they put the as-built, I know I have seen that before. I would ask that we can, next meeting, I'll make sure I'll drag Peter back up here and.
Okay.
he'll answer
If
that
it's
question.
possible, I think it would benefit if at least you just have the closest
Yeah, yeah.
to the buildings. It doesn't have to be full as-built, but at least the closest to that limit line you have set.
Yeah. Does Bellingham have a tree warden? I don't know, or no?
We do.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is he retired or is he still?
I think it's a shared position,
Okay.
from what I understand.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, but if you reach out to Concom, or actually, I think if you just send an email in.
Yeah, and we'll be in front of, we're gonna have, like, NOI will be in front of Concom now, anyways. So obviously, I know sometimes certain Concoms have different trees or they want, so I'm sure we'll touch on that during that presentation.
Yeah, and on the board of Concom, there's a woman who is a certified arborist. She teaches and.
Perfect. I always love when there's a landscaper on a board, so it can help us out, so. I always like that.
So the fence, is it like a 6 foot vinyl or?
Yeah, 6 foot vinyl privacy fence is usually what we use in situations like that. So that would be the standard. And then we'll reflect that in the order of conditions. So yeah, that's pretty much what we go with.
Do you have a detail of it on here?
I don't know if we have a detail of it. I can have it added, but usually when it comes to kind of neighbors, things we pledge, we're reflected in the comprehensive permit and it's kind of written, so
Yeah,
it's law.
yeah. So you've got looks like you got the chain link fence, which I'm gonna assume is going around the dumpster.
Correct. Yeah. I have a picture of the dumpster, but those, next meeting, I'll bring it out. So but all our, we have some projects in Upton, it's a chain link fence, and the dumpster and, the recycle bins stay there. So, yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry, what was the proposed on-site visit?
Well, that's what we talked about mid-July last meeting, so we want to make sure I get exactly what we want flag. So anytime in mid-July will work for us. We can work for it. So depends on what dates you guys have available.
Okay. Yeah. No, that would work then.
Is it, you're
Do you
gonna,
have a date already
you gonna
set?
join us with the
that
walk?
you're
or you
going
gonna-
to?
Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna have the engineers out and they're gonna flag it, like everything, and then we can, any questions you can ask there on site. So, I mean, we're whatever the board wants, the week of July 13th to 17th works, 20th, 24th,
Send me an email with your dates
yeah.
and when you think your surveyor is gonna have that stuff flagged.
Yeah, he'll
And then
be,
I can send it to the board and then they can reply. And once we get consensus.
okay, yeah, I'll give a few dates and times
Yeah.
and a lot of big kind of blocks. Just out of curiosity, what building specifically would the board like, flag? So usually it's, they want to see the kind of ones, the sides, the corners of the building closest to the neighbors.
So
So,
the two northern ones right there next to the tree line you have, and then the southwestern building.
the ends of F, G, E, and D looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there is, and A might be good to also see because that's pretty close. I don't mind.
Okay.
To me, I don't know what the rest of the board,
Yeah.
A, D, F, and G.
A, D, F, and G, okay. And I'm just, I'll probably have them, post like one whole building just so you can see the full thing, and then the other three will probably just be the backs.
Just the corners.
Yeah, just the corners, so,
The back.
the back corners.
I can't find it. I was just asking if you can show me where the dumpster locations was on the map. I just couldn't.
For here.
Yeah, it's over there. It's on the left side of building J. So there'll be two parking spots in front of it, which won't be parking spots. So when the truck comes in, it'll kind of, they'll just use there, so.
Yeah, you might want to rethink, again, you're having a landscaper do a robust plan.
Yes.
You might want to rethink.
Yeah, no, those will move. The landscape, we met with them for like, 20 minutes and went through the site. So I'll submit that plan. It should be ready by the next meeting, and, any questions, we can certainly go over it. So.
Any other questions from the board?
No, I don't think so.
So the entertainment motion to open up.
Do you want to open the hearing to the public?
Yeah.
Okay, yep, motion to open the.
Yeah, motion to open the hearing to the public.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Unanimous decision?
If anybody from the public wants to state their name, address.
Okay, Michelle Vader with Neighbors.
Yeah.
What's the
Now we
address again?
noticed that the.
What's the address?
If you don't mind me.
Vader, 56 Depot. Sorry.
Thank you. No.
So like the two buildings have become one on the corner of our property? Is that what I'm getting? I haven't seen the new drawings up until like right now.
Which
Right up in the corner by the border of Vader. Yep, right there. See how, I think there used to be two buildings.
I can probably answer that one. There used to be two buildings here,
Yeah,
and now it's one.
right. Is that still 15 feet from the corner? Because I can't read that. From the corner to to our property? I mean, I know there's gonna be a fence. I'm just curious. Is it
Right.
Still 15 feet?
Francis
No,
Street.
yeah, 15.
Says
Well,
16 now, I think.
It was 12 the last time.
It says 16 on the first.
16?
Diagram.
Yeah, we tried to move the building.
Yeah, it looks like 16. You zoom in, yeah, that's 16 now.
Okay, so it's 16. Yeah, I see it's not from the deck. You look like you made patios instead of the deck at the corner there.
Right.
Yeah, so the patio is what we just did on the end units. Again, is to kind of move them off, like on the side. So it's just a different layout after working with our architect. So, and we do have. I submitted it today. It was delayed, but we do have a photometric plan as well, which just making sure that there's going to be no light pollution on at other neighbors' properties. So. Again, we had to kind of wait for this to be done and then get it to the electrical engineer. So, yeah.
And I can confirm it was 12 feet before, now it's 16.
Yeah, because I know in my mind, my husband's like, well, our deck is 14 feet. He goes, so it's less than that. So that's why in my mind, I'm going, was it 12, 14? What was it?
Yeah, I had the old
Yeah,
copies.
it's 12
Oh,
feet.
16.
Yeah.
And
16.
I have something you got?
I'm done.
So I think you might have answered this already. The circles there, are those trees, or is that actually the tree?
No, the circles are trees, and then see the little square post. That's
with the line towards the fence.
that's the fence, correct?
Okay, and you already answered one of my questions. It's gonna be a 6-foot platform.
Yep.
The other question is that on your property line, or my property, or is it right on the line?
that's on the line.
It's on the line. Look, we do often with neighbors. Sometimes neighbors want it on their side. Sometimes they want it, on our side.
Yeah.
We can work with that. So
If on the line is okay, that's fine with us, but I don't know if that's a rule. I always thought putting up a fence, it had to be on
10 feet.
your side of the.
There's not, I don't, this town doesn't have anything on that,
Sure.
but I have worked in towns where, yes, you're correct. It has to be.
Yeah, because when we
One or
put up a
two.
fence, we made sure we were so many feet from the border. We had to put up a small
Right,
and
and
that
that
wooden fence to the other side. So we just were asking.
One last thing. Go, yeah. Yeah, who's gonna maintain that fence? I mean, if you have that snow area and the plows push the fence over, whatever,
Yep.
is that
The-
the properties?
That's what
owners
the-
to fix? Okay.
That's what I was gonna say. So if it's on the line, usually we would take, that we would take over the fence. We have no problem doing that. Sometimes when it comes for sales, sometimes the people, the neighbor will want control of the fence just in case like HOA ever decided they didn't want it, so they had control over it, but there's a rental. And you can also, when we write in the comprehensive permit saying like the owner has, it maintains the fence, then even if we sold the building, 30 years from now, well, we can still maintain it, so.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
For being. Any other members of the public?
I got one last question, I'm sorry. We talked about the water line, and that's, if something happens and it's dug up, whatever reason, is that gonna get taken care of like right away so we have water?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, if we find if the road water line is there, it'll be our
Yeah.
first priority is like, how do we like redirect that? So, yeah.
Right, I don't, nobody has any record of it, but it's just what it was told to me forever
Yeah,
since I've been here, so.
DPW seemed very surprised when we said that, so.
Yeah,
If it's there, we're not gonna like hit it and be like, all right, give us 6 months. So we'll figure, we'll work a way around it or get you hooked up, to the, to the main line or something like that.
Is it worth it or possible to just add like a note just for the whoever is excavating, just
Oh, yeah, no,
just take care of that area, just,
Yes.
excavate gentler, because I know I've been around it, so
Yeah.
some operators will just excavate, others, if you tell them to be careful, they'll just remove little by little. So if they hit something, if they find that line, the warning
yeah.
tape, at least they'll be careful.
Yeah, no, we'll make sure it's like on the plans, dig safe will come out, and the last thing we ever want to do is hit a water line. So,
It's not to your benefit.
we will make sure everyone is aware, like, hey, like proceed with caution, and, don't.
Just on the northern side.
I don't know if the applicant has reached out to the water department to get tie cards as well to sort of verify that, where that location is too.
No, the last time we've talked to the water department, it was like when DPW said, we'll look into it. I can check back in with them, like, did you guys find anything? So I was just trying to pull like titles and
Yeah.
deeds and stuff to see, but I couldn't find anything in the avenues on these. So I'll check, that's good, I'll check in with DPW and see what, if they've found anything, so.
Thanks for the effort.
Yes, I know, it's always, it's funny, like, well, how development happened like 100 years ago. It's like I find it like very cool. So yeah,
You don't always have accurate as-built.
Yeah.
We know that.
I think we were like the state archives, like the Grafton State Hospital one time. Spooky, it was very spooky. It's on the old blueprint, so it's like like wow, it's awesome. So
Anybody else in the public have any other comments?
Maybe not for this applicant.
All right, do we want to continue, discussion?
Yeah, so we close it to the public and have discussion.
Oh, good.
We're still waiting.
Yeah,
Waiting on the old Thomas review to come back, yeah, so I'd like to just have, that's a good.
Just continue.
Okay. I'd like to.
Excuse me,
Oh,
sorry,
For
last thing, are you
the timing.
okay? Is this something we need to have in writing, just because is it said here, this is legal and binding? Like the fence, the trees, the water, things like
Like that's
that?
on a plan, it has to, once it's finalized, I know they're still going through iterations, but once the plan is finalized, they have to follow the plan.
Okay,
And there'll be conditions that are defined.
Yeah, and the board will have conditions, which will probably include exactly
Right.
what was discussed by you.
great,
and
thank you.
at the end of the project, like let's say we were to like not put up the fence, the town would come out and not give us like a certificate of occupancy until like the fence is up. So we wouldn't be able to have people live there until all the orders were met. So it's
No offense to you.
no.
We don't want to be like, oh,
Fine, then.
where's the fence?
Yeah. It will-
Buildings in my backyard.
We'll be checking and enforced.
Okay, great, thank you.
All right, so I'd like to entertain a motion to continue the public hearing for August 6th.
So moved
At 7 PM?
at 7 p.m.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great being here.
Thank you. Happy 4th, everyone.
Happy 4th.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks for your help. And Rachel,
Yeah,
amazing.
okay. Again, I wasn't, I'm not, I'm still getting used to you all as well and how comfortable you are in these things.
Oh,
So.
not comfortable at all.
Doing great.
I'm here to help you all. I'm here to make you look good.
Yeah, perfect. Oh, efficient. Yeah, efficient there. All right, next one, public hearing for 11 Summer Street, special permit.
Yeah, the applicant would please, that's these.
Oh.
You don't mind stating your name?
Owen Heron,
And your address?
166 Dean Street in Norton is my residential address.
Did we make a motion to open?
We'll make the motion now. Motion to open the hearing for 11 Summer Street. Special permit.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so open.
Welcome, yeah, if you don't mind just kind of giving us the gist of your special permit application.
Yeah, if I wasn't too sure whether I was gonna get asked to talk about it or not, so I kind of came up with a little bit of a maybe a unique approach, so bear with me for a sec. It was just about 4 years ago this time that I called my best friend Jim behind me here from a Panera Bread in the morning and said, we need to make something happen for ourselves. We've been doing this for other people for too long. So Acceleration Engineering started off originally as a performance engine machine shop. I thought I was going to spend my day building race car engines. And after unplanned family and stuff like that, I had to go get a real job. And I found myself working on submarines for many years, driving from Norton to Groton, Connecticut every day. Some of the other programs that I've supported, I was the lead engineer for the Mark 18 Unmanned Underwater Vehicle program. I was the engineering manager for the submarine fleet on the atmosphere revitalization systems. Worked for a couple of years for another company in Quincy, and Jim and I kind of reestablished Acceleration Engineering from nothing. So over the course of the past couple of years, we went from literally nothing, trying to figure out how we were going to do this. We worked for a solid year without actually getting paid for our efforts. But where we have progressed to today is from nothing to many people are familiar with ISO certifications and stuff like that. We've made ourselves to a AS 9100 engineering design organization. So when you meet AS, you by default get ISO because the requirements have exceeded. We've made it to the point that we have executed.
AS is the American standard, ISO is the international.
Correct, yeah, aerospace standard. So some of the additional requirements are like controls on how you do bid and proposal, basis of estimate, manpower planning. If you've ever worked someplace where they say we don't have enough people, right? Those are some of the controls to try to make sure things like that don't happen.
A lot of documentation.
It is. And like maybe just for the sake of conversation, my reins to that is like I've worked places that ignore the scientific process, and the scientific process exists for a reason. And if you want to fight it or you want to ignore it, you're probably going to be unsuccessful in it. It's understanding how it goes and being able to work in that system and know what the pushes and the pulls of everything that you're doing are. We've executed a DPAS, Defense Prioritization Acquisition System contract up to DX, which is the highest priority in the US. We just got informed that that's going to get extended for another year. We also were recently successful, it just became announced publicly. Massachusetts Technical Collaborative has awarded us with a grant to build a qualification device. I can go into the details of it if you'd like. That hasn't been built in decades in the US. There is none in the state of Massachusetts. We will be the only operating facility with this capability in the state. And one of the things of the many that it's going to allow us to do is become a design, prototype, qualified facility. So when we think about like traditional government acquisitions and stuff like that, somebody like the Navy will go to a prime like a General Dynamics, who will go to another engineering organization, who will go to a manufacturing organization, who will go to a test organization. We're going to take that telephone game, and that's all going to come into one house. And so the analogy that I use is if in the movie Pulp Fiction, they say, who's the wolf, right? The wolf solves all problems. Walk in and you'll say, I need this to go away. And what we are going to bring to the table is the ability to do the engineering design, the prototype, and the qualification to be able to bring speed to fleet solutions for our efforts as a nation.
That qualification device you described, is that a process or is that an actual physical device?
No, it's an actual physical device. It's called a high impact shock test machine. And so super simple analogy is to think about a golf ball being hit by a golf club, right? Or a baseball being hit by a baseball bat. It's a robustness test that anything that goes into a combatant Navy vessel has to go through. And so there's different requirements depending on how critical it is on board that vessel. So if it's a critical to ship component, let's say it's a water pump, it will have to operate throughout that entire test. And then there's acceptance criteria about like leakage and things like that. But it's a robustness test to prove that it can make it onto the ship. And every single device, every single piece part that gets installed on a destroyer, an aircraft carrier, or a submarine has to go through it. In addition kind of to that, there's the state of Massachusetts is standing up several programs, one of which is getting discussed a lot right now, which is like the SHIELD program of how the state of Massachusetts can help contribute to some of these critical defense needs. And what we will be able to offer the Commonwealth, again, if it sounds like I'm bragging about it a little bit, it's because I am, and it took us a couple of years in order to get there. There's only one organization that's approved by Naval Sea Command to actually build this machine. It took us about a year to convince the company to actually do it for us. But again, what we will bring is the ability, not just for ourselves, not just for contract work from other defense suppliers, other primes, the Navy themselves, but also businesses within the Commonwealth that are trying to get into the defense industry, specifically the naval industry as well.
And this is a self-contained device.
It is. It'll be entirely inside the building. You won't see it. You won't hear it. The devices that will go on it, there's actually 3 different categories. So there's light, medium, and heavy. Heavy takes place on a barge. So that's down in Virginia. There's a barge. They do explosion tests and stuff like that. You can go on YouTube. You can look at it. There's some awesome ones of like the Ford aircraft carrier going through it. There's a medium weight machine, which is something that is on our roadmap of consideration and talk and stuff like that. And then there's the lightweight machine. And the lightweight machine is the one that we're getting. It can test items up to 550 pounds, including the fixture. So what that would mean is that the things that we would truly be testing on it would be items like heat exchangers, pumps, valving, different components like that. Okay. So things that would fit like in a courier van or something like that. We wouldn't have like semis coming down the road unloading.
That's what I was asking.
Okay. Yeah.
Once giant turbines come.
Yeah, these things would be, for all intents and purposes, something that would fit in a large suitcase.
Yeah. Cool. All right, great, thanks.
How many vehicles would you have on the property?
For the foreseeable future, just myself. I don't see us ever exceeding 5 to 7 employees. One of those employees will likely be my wife. I'm out of what I will call uber conservatism. I would say a maximum of 5 to 7 vehicles at any time.
Because it's just in the front, right? It's basically like the street.
It is certainly frontage is there certainly are some considerations there. I do drive a pickup truck myself. I've had we've gone to the property a number of times to daydream. And so like my father drives an SUV and I drive next to it. And, I think backing in can easily get 5 to 7 vehicles. There is a short little driveway on one side that one can kind of sneak into.
I guess the biggest concern I think I would see is like, what would the noise be like?
That's a great question. And I'm sorry if I cut you off, but what I was thinking about saying is the commitments that I can make, us moving in here is one, we're hyper OCD in particular because of what it's doing. So we're neat, we're clean, right? You hopefully you've seen some of my generated images of what I hope that this looks like, right? I'm so excited to find a place as well. There's a number of things that are great about this building specifically. One of which is it's not a steel building like every other building around the road, because it's kind of not what I want. We will not have anything to cause any sort of pollution, right? So we're not going to have any abrasive chemicals, oils, gases, anything like that that would cause harm to the environment or ourselves. And the other thing is we're quiet. Apart from the cars being parked outside, you won't think that we're there. A lot of our work is computer-based work. So, if you're looking aerially at the building, there's a extension piece that's out back. That's kind of where I think our offices and stuff like that will go. We do own a couple pieces of CNC equipment, but you wouldn't hear any of that stuff running. There's no real noise coming off of that. And then the shock test machine, you wouldn't hear that either. To maybe even further support that a little bit is one of the things that we'll do, we've already engaged like mass saves and a couple of the other programs and stuff like that. So energy efficiency is something that's important to me, not just from our consumption standpoint, but certainly in terms of our environmental standpoint. Maybe another thing that we're working on is to become what's called a level 1 approved manufacturer. And so the most critical things that go into shipbuilding are categorized as level 1. The relevance to where I'm going with this is temperature control, right? You may or may not be aware that metals expand, contract, they change sizes and stuff like that, right? It's going to be critical that we keep a rather controlled temperature and stuff like that inside for anything that we cut. So because of that, studying the walls, putting some insulation, the drywall and stuff like that in there, helps maintain that temperature, but also provides an additional buffer in terms of any sort of noise that's generated. But I don't think you'll hear anything outside.
You need a specific HVAC unit to maintain temperature at all times. What's the noise on that, for example?
Yeah, no, we would not need anything special. So I think there's probably a couple of things that we're looking at. Is one, the building will need a new roof, right? And so whenever the time comes for a roof, we certainly would do overkill insulation and stuff like that. I think maybe to answer your question just more directly, I think we could actually get to the point where a couple of mini splits would actually suffice for what we need. There won't be any large air movers. There will be no turbines.
So no clean room type of.
No.
Hi, this is a question for Rachel. I'm just curious because it said that, I guess, has this property fallen under the like abandonment? Like, has it not been in operation?
Not when it was first brought to the building commissioner. No, he did not identify this as being an abandoned property.
Okay, because I know in the past that we had one where it was left vacant, and then if it was vacant for over 2 years, then it kind of falls under abandonment.
Yeah, that's a great point. That wasn't in the initial correspondence that I saw when the building commissioner was talking to him about this project.
But the lead memo had describes it from the select board meeting. I don't know if you had a chance to see that. But they waived the denial of permits for failure to pay municipal taxes. So they must have went a period of time without paying taxes. And the select board waived that as an issue. If I'm reading that memo correctly, right?
That is correct. A lot of communities, including Bellingham, they enact a provision that if you owe back taxes on a property, you can't apply for permits, or nobody can apply for a permit, on your behalf until those are paid. But as part of that, also that law, there is a waiver provision, and only the board of selectmen can waive the collection of the back taxes prior to submitting the application. The back taxes will still have to be paid, but it doesn't stop somebody from applying for a permit.
So I have some questions for you too, because like when I actually visited the site today, and some of the things I was thinking about that we don't have to think about is like, like the kind of building construction, like access to like fire access to the backside and stuff like that. This thing is right up to the edge of the boundary, and then parking. Yeah, he mentioned that we were able to park, and felt like I was in the street when I was parking. Are those things that we consider? That's what I'm asking. Or is that,
Yeah, I mean, is this an expansion of, the pre-existing non-conforming use? Is it more detrimental to the area, than the previous, use was? And in that section, again, I know this is only my quote unquote second meeting or third meeting with you guys. But that's essentially what you're looking at on the pre-existing non-conformity. Is it more detrimental to the area, or is it increasing the non-conformity in any way? And that's not just dimensional, that could be sound, hours of operation.
that can
that
change
kind of stuff.
what the applicant is bringing in?
Yeah,
So this, like the size and location versus the boundaries isn't an issue because that's pre-existing.
right, yeah, he's
Okay,
staying
so
within
something we
it.
don't consider.
So this is just the use.
Has this,
I was just gonna ask the applicant a question. What is your expectation of deliveries to the business? And is it tractor trailer trucks or is it just like Amazon?
No, it's a good question. It was certainly something the first time I pulled up, I considered because of, where it is and where you go and stuff like that. So on that shock test machine that we were talking about, that would constitute some of the larger deliveries, which can be like I'm gonna call it like a DHL, like special carrier van or something like that, so your cargo van. Certainly, there would be opportunity for like UPS and stuff like that to come down. But other than that, no tractor trailers. And I'll also just maybe to go one step further is it would not be a significant inflow outflow of raw materials, right? So we could potentially go like weeks without UPS or a delivery van or anything like that coming through. So
Okay, thank you.
has this property been vacant since 2016? Rachel, do you know?
I'm just trying to find the email.
I see in the back, it says the foreclosure docs 2016.
That's on the property card that was included.
Okay. Let me just
Just
double
curious.
check. Yeah,
I mean, I guess the other thing I'd be curious about is that since it looks, I mean, it's definitely an unusual situation, but since the building kind of goes right up to the property line, a little over, are there any windows on those sides? Like, I mean,
yeah, it's another good question. And I might actually be able to shed it. I've learned so much about this because it's been quite a journey. But the building was foreclosed on. It was trying to remember the name of the bank that took it, and it was ultimately sold as a package of, we'll call it distressed properties, to a gentleman who got it as a bundle, didn't want it, and got it with it, didn't have a choice. And so he sold it to the gentleman that owns it right now, who was planning to use it as like a layup spot for his construction business and stuff like that, but has chosen not to and chose to sell it. And so that's where I come in to be the first one to use it. It does have windows, and it does have windows on the side. I think for a couple of reasons. Of one, some privacy. Just because we'll be working on things, there will be some things of value and stuff like that in there. So like the windows on the side, I would probably mortar over the building right now. When you look at it in the front, there was a extension done at one point and they like half stucco the building, but didn't half stucco the other side of it. And so in my continued OCD, right, if we were to mortar those up, I would like to continue the stuccoing to have just like a consistent look on the outside. But the other thing is kind of going back to that energy efficiency portion of it. They weren't like the best installed windows. They're older windows and stuff like that now. So finishing off the inside and insulation and stuff like that would help that portion of it.
and is it just one level? It looks like it's just one.
It's one primary level. If you, whomever's driving, if you could scroll down just a little bit or up just a little bit.
I'm not.
I think you meant the other direction.
That's
Yeah,
the top of it.
Right.
Okay, yeah, so again, this is, an IA rendered, I was trying to use my words, photo, but what you're seeing is the dormers right now. There is a small second floor that's up there right now. So we would not be adding a second floor in this vision that we have here. We might just add some dormers to make the space a little more effective, but
I think, James, you made a great point though about the parking, that's definitely, because that space even just seeing, I can't even tell what that depth would be, but I mean,
I can tell you that right now.
would it be able
where
to
you-
be going out into the street if you're, because that meant you would be parking.
So my pickup truck right now with a trailer hitch on it, when I back up to the building, what there is a fairly clean line between the street and where the little slope of, they call it the parking lot starts. Is right now I do not protrude into the street when I back up to it. And so when we look at that main garage door and go over towards that door in the middle, you could easily get 3 or 4 vehicles backed up to the building in that, and you certainly could continue it on the other side of that middle door. There is also just right to the right of that photo, it doesn't show it well here, but there is I'm gonna call it a small driveway. I know driveway sounds a little exaggerated there, but there is a small little driveway and like a recessed parking spot that at least one that's not under vehicles can.
You know, but I agree with you that has the, fire chief looked at this at all, Rachel, or not at this? Because I think that's a good point too.
Yeah, I don't see that they've sent in any comments, so
Does that mean they've looked at it or doing comments, or does that mean they've never seen it?
that I have to double check.
I'd like to kind of see what that dimension is, because I agree with you, it definitely looks really close
Oh, yeah.
to the street.
Well, we have one of the pictures.
The building is 80 feet long. So, if you take the average length of a vehicle at 15 feet and you were to blow it up to, let's call it 20 feet. I mean, even if you were to park, parallel to the front of the building itself, there's still room for 4 or 5 vehicles in that orientation versus a back orientation. And the average vehicle being about 6 to 7 feet wide.
Did you, give us like a parking layout?
I could. I say I could, I say it with just some apprehension of, one, that there's obvious physical limitations as to what we'd be able to do or change anything, right? And,
It's very difficult to determine where the road is and where the parking lot is. Very difficult like that.
yeah, it is.
I mean, I think, to me, I appreciate what you guys are trying to do. I think the tricky thing is that, kind of like Jim said, like you're building, it's such an unusual situation. The building almost goes right to the property lines and that it is kind of residential around it. So even with usually just so much, that leaves a little room for.
On a dead end street with only one house on the other side of it. And then the only other thing I would advocate for to support ourselves is, we're approaching.
Two houses abutting.
There's no east on the other side. Divide them.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
There's quite a few.
Those are abutters, but when you're on Summer Street itself, I believe property 21 is the only house further down the road from that dead end, right? So when you go.
Abutters mean
Yeah,
that join your property. So it doesn't have to be on Summer Street.
Agreed, but we were talking about parking, right? So when we talk about the impact of parking on Summer Street, there is only one house beyond it on that dead end street.
Yes. Well, I guess I was thinking outside that, just about we want to make sure that it's not more detrimental than the previous use and that we just try to weigh this kind of residential neighborhood that's around the building.
Agreed, I just, a butter on the aft side of the building isn't gonna be impacted by the parking on the front side of the building on Summer Street.
Yes. But I guess to me, for my concerns would be the noise and that aside from you're right, the parking would that, there's just the butter down that way, but as far as if there were any noise concerns, there are the other properties around it. But I do hear what you're saying. I think it's.
Right,
it's-
yeah. So I mean, when we look at that image there, right, is you can I approach the the screen? No. So like if we just look at this property line right here. Right. We draw a line here, right, and come back. When I back my truck in right now, I am not exceeding or sticking out beyond that right now. And there is room for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 vehicles backed in such an orientation.
Is that the property line?
I know, that's what I'm curious
Yeah.
about.
It's GIS, so it's plus or minus.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no distance between the house and
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
edge of the road officially.
And what was the use before?
It said,
A car
machine
repair?
shop, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
In auto repair.
I didn't see the email that you got sent out to the, department.
And maybe just to that point about it being like auto repair and stuff like that, as what I believe it actually was a motorcycle repair shop. And so, I do not ever see us exceeding the noise of a Harley or, something screaming and kind of going in there and stuff. So from a noise concern, I certainly think I can rationalize that we are less egregious than the previous use case.
Looking, I guess, at the plan, how much would be dedicated to like office space versus like,
Yeah, so
Manufacturing.
this is a good, yeah,
Which plan? This picture or?
the one you just had, the aerial view, yeah, so right below the 11 there, where the cursor is right now. So the idea right now is if we took that rectangle in the back, can I approach the board again?
Sure.
So, the notional idea is this extension that was put into the back here, right? We would remove some of that previous ventilation and stuff that was there. The entire roof needs to get redone. So this would obviously get reshingled and stuff like that, but as you walk in, we would kind of divide this area here into thirds. This would be a conference room area. There'd be like a little common area. We'll call it like, modern places call it like collaboration area, right? With some like high tops and chairs and stuff to sit and work at. And then as much as I hate to say it, because I tried to escape this, there'd be a couple cubicles in here, right? That we can sit and do our desk work at. So this steeple that you're seeing right here is where that second floor is that you're asking about. And underneath, this is where that main garage door is. And so you come inside the main garage door, the machine that we were talking about that's going to be built, that would go right inside this door here and kind of have like a little layup area and stuff where we can receive, inspect things, make sure that during transportation there was no damage or anything like that took place, and get ready to test it. One of the things that this building has that's very attractive is it has 480 power, it has 240 power and 120 power. And in addition to that, because it was a machine shop at one point in time, it has a 480 220 header that runs down the entire building, right? So there was a number of industrial machines that were there at one point in time because you can actually see all the dropouts. As a matter of fact, all the labeling for the machines and stuff is still there. So like, the couple pieces of CNC equipment that we have would probably get dropped right inside this rectangle here. There's a side door and there's, I'm going to call it maybe an existing conference room or dedicated area that would kind of be like our reception area and stuff like that. Maybe where you could put PPE on and stuff if you needed it. And then what it would leave us for is like assembly and test of anything that we were to develop. Helpful.
And you said the items you'll get the biggest would be suitcase size.
Yeah, certainly for that test and, within the scope of acceleration, this footprint, the fabrication capabilities, like if we were contributing to the design and development of something of a larger footprint, it wouldn't take place here because we also get out of the bounds of like what people can lift safely and stuff like that. So
I guess what I was thinking was kind of like, was just that the manufacturing could be, pulled away from like the neighbor to the left where the house is in their outdoor area. I mean, I know you would sound, try to mitigate the noise, but even just location wise, that could help.
and it was a machine shop.
beforehand, right? With heavy
That's true.
machines.
That
Covers
is
the whole
true.
floor, so I
They
I
are-
understand what you're saying, but, you know, prior use, I'm sure,
Yeah,
you know.
that is a good point.
And our modern CNC machines are substantially
Yeah.
quieter than what the building was originally built in 1950 and was first used as a machine shop. Not only is there like an energy efficiency, but there's certainly a noise efficiency of the machine equipment that we would have versus what came from the 50s.
And I imagine with the existing photo, they have like the garage door, so they probably, you know, who knows, they're gonna have the garage door open while they're working, and you're gonna have more of a controlled environment.
Do you have some paperwork of the CNC machine that says what the decibels are from it?
I'm sure I could obtain that.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, my super concern, and I'll take whatever actions come and stuff like that, you know, I was hoping to come to a resolution this evening to be, I got everybody locked and loaded to move forward, with it, so I guess maybe my request to that would be, I know there's not objective quality evidence at the moment that I can provide you, but it was originally built and used as a machine shop in the 50s, and when we take 2020, our oldest machine is 2025.
Okay.
And
would you be comfortable if the board said something like, you know, the CNC machines that are proposed to be used inside would not exceed that of a auto repair, you know,
I would be,
auto repair shop?
yeah, I'd be comfortable with some language like that, because we will, in particular, to your comment about like the door being open and stuff like that. And somebody who's a Harley fan is gonna hate me, right? But, you know, again, somebody working on a Harley and pulling out of there and heading down the street and stuff like that, like we will be magnitudes under that decibel level.
We ready to open up, to the public? Right, wait, is there any times or any, public comment?
No.
Oh,
No,
we
make a
close,
motion.
Motion to open
Yeah,
the hearing to the public.
And I'll second it.
We want to close it.
Motion to open the hearing to the public, second.
Seconded.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Hi, Hector Cochado, I live at, 21 Summer Street. Yeah, the building was originally designed as a machine shop, but I think the part you're missing is the original owner who built 21 Summer Street was the engineer that built that building so he can machine parts for the factories in the area like Pawtucket and stuff. I have all those documents in the garage, so. He actually owned most of the neighborhood, so he could build a machine shop and kind of not bother anyone. Like the house on the other side, in the corner, he owned that property too. And
11 Central.
yeah, so that's kind of why the building's there. Because I'm sure you're all thinking like, that's an odd building for that neighborhood. It is, but that's the reason why.
Yeah.
And the motorcycle shop, you would think, yeah, motorcycles like a big, like loud noise. That wasn't even the problem. The motorcycles were quiet. It was the constant trucks, delivery trailers, people not sure if that was the right address, constantly stopping in front of my house. People pulling into the driveway across the street. Not enough parking, so when your employees are there, other people making deliveries just kind of jams the street. I know it's not a busy street, but it just always happens at the most inconvenient moment, you know? So my concerns are really like the parking in the front. Yeah, you could probably put 4 or 5 cars if they're all compact. But you start adding pickup trucks and trailers, it gets real messy.
So there wouldn't be like trailers and.
Excuse me, direct it to the board.
You can answer his question just through the board.
Well,
You know,
I don't talk.
yeah, you know, so copy on all that, right? But I think the reality is, and again, I wanted to provide some conservatism. We're talking probably about 2 or 3 vehicles is what realistically will be there.
How about deliveries?
Trailers.
How large are those trucks?
A UPS truck.
That's the largest it would be.
That's the largest it would be. Like we said earlier, any article under test would likely come in a courier, which would be in a minivan, right? A closed box van. So, trailers and things like that. And I do think that there's also maybe another good point that comes through that, and that is, our requirement to be a good steward to the neighbors, right? Is, we would have to be diligent in making sure that we weren't impacting things or having delivery vehicles and stuff like that out there. So that is, along with the other things that we could promise, right, of not having environmental waste, noise, right, being OCD, neat and clean, but our stewardship would certainly be an important thing as well.
Thank you.
All right, go ahead, yes, sir.
Waiting.
Hi, Wayne Quakers, 40 Arthur Street, perpendicular to Summer Street. One thing I do, I'm not for or against it, but one thing I do need to beg to differ with that gentleman. When the motorcycles came around up Arthur Street, I'm on a hill, our knickknacks used to rattle when he gave it the gas. Okay, so I noticed I've done the machining and the fabricating myself many years ago. And some of the machining, we had specific materials that would go on, liquids. We had to dig a sort of a sump drain. And if it clogged up, unfortunately, we have to call the fire department to come in there and, pump it out, put all the cat litter and stuff, whatever they use, and then they have to take it away, which will shut down the machine for, a long period of time. What you're saying, you're not using anything like that, or is there a case where that could happen, that the fire department would have to come down, especially if, I don't know, if some liquids hit that sort of material? Would that cause a gaseous thing?
No, and that's a really good question, because all of the equipment that we have, there's a number of things that have changed, right, over the years where discharge of cutting fluid and coolant and stuff like that was once allowable. All of the CNC equipment that we have is self-contained. It's self-contained in two fashions. One, it's not like an open cutting head that would generate the noise, right? So everything's contained like in glass walls. A lot of that was truly driven, I think, more by safety, right? Of having like little chips and stuff fly, but that's certainly one thing that helps mitigate the noise. But also each machine has a self-contained coolant tank. And so what we would have is a company like Clean Harbors or Clean Safe, Safety Clean come in and they would recycle that. And then we would replace it. The coolant is a mixture of water soluble solution and water itself that you can buy at Ranger. So we would call Safety Clean, they'd come in, they take the old stuff. We put some of the Granger stuff in, some water and go back.
Okay. Yeah, it's gonna be a funny question. Can you answer me what all those codes meant? I saw a bunch of codes and I forgot my code book at home, but I don't remember what all those codes stood for.
Like
I'm
ISO.
not sure if that would help the neighbors feel better about certain types of liquids and fluids under those codes. That's all I have. Thank you.
Yeah, so the codes that I talked about, like the AS and the ISO and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That was more applicable to our engineering design process and how we do due diligence of what it is that we design that are going to hopefully some of the most critical assets built in the US. That would be separate from like those fluid codes and stuff like that. So we would certainly be subjected a couple of ways with regard to environmental requirements. One would certainly be whatever the town mandates, but also the DFARS, Defense Federal Acquisition requirements and stuff like that would also put requirements of pollution and stuff like that on us as well.
And if I may to the board, I know you folks have a lot of questions about the spacing and stuff. Come on down south and, and pay us a visit. We'll walk you through it. I know he lives on Lake Street. It's like, he knows where I live. Come on down. I'll even cook you some hot dogs. That way there, it takes your I mean, it'll help you understand the property more. I mean, a lot of people here, they're very concerned, because they live closer to there than I do. I live on the other side. I live near that car wash. Enough said about that, but, yeah, come on down, take a walk, take your tape measures, and, I'm sure this gentleman will let you inside, and then you can say either yay or nay as far as, what you're thinking. You can look at the pocket with the tenants, the parking, have these people there with you. I mean, they can ask you questions right there if that's applicable to what this board does. That's all. Thank you.
If I could just throw one other thing for consideration in there is I've learned a lot about this property through this effort. And that is, I know that there were people interested in the property that didn't pursue it because of the back tax situation and the uncertainty of going through the special process and special permit, which is why we did it and stuff. But this building has remained relatively empty and relatively unkept. And again, from like a stewardship of the community standpoint, we're looking to come in, clean it, make it modern, do something really awesome, bring a capability to the state of Massachusetts that no other company in the state is going to be able to bring.
Yes, this is a woman.
My name is Justine Cruz Cortado. I live at 21 Summer Street. Hector is my husband, but I just want to say Hector works constantly. I am the one that is at home. I do not agree that the motorcycle shop was quiet, but it wasn't Harley Davidson's. They were like racing motorcycles. So I think that's a little bit different. My question is, I understand that the building is a good fit for what you're trying to do, but I don't see how you are a good fit for our neighborhood. And I thought maybe you would tell us like things that we're gonna, the street that we live on is not in great condition. There are potholes. I mean, potholes that will become very deep after the snow. We have a hump in our street like this from so many probably trucks coming up onto the street. If you look at the picture that you have right here up now, this is my husband's garage and this is his driveway here. This is a Mini Cooper and this is a small older Jeep. Yeah, I know what your car is. Thank you. There is not a lot of space here. So if you have a pickup truck 15 to 16 feet long, you are definitely coming out past what would be considered the street. So I just feel like this has been one of those things where I'm looking on the bright side of everything, not me, you. And you say you're going to bring jobs, and I counted 5 jobs, and every one of them has a plural on the end, as if there may be more than one. So even if I say one and yourself, that's 6 vehicles that need to park there. I don't feel like there's room there for 6 vehicles. Your building that you're interested in, all this, no, don't move it. All this floods right out to here when it rains, just FYI. I'll leave the other side to the people who live on the other side. The person who was using it to store classic cars was not invasive, but still blocked us in sometimes. If you are getting deliveries, then a lot of times they will come, this is you, they will pull right here and then take stuff out the back. Well, you blocked me in to my driveway. People who are coming tend to come all the way down and then turn around, and this our other is sort of an access point for the river. I just don't understand the growth that you're going to bring without bringing too many vehicles and people. This used to be my garden, but the people, when this was a motorcycle shop, the people who worked there thought that they could stand here and watch me they would stand, if this is my yard as the board, they would smoke cigarettes like this and just watch what I'm doing. That's not comfortable to me. And I feel like people do, if they work in offices, they do want to step outside for a little bit. And I feel like I come from a tiny city where the most green spaces were overgrown, abandoned places. So I like green a lot. I appreciate having quiet, and I feel like when you're working and you see all this forest and stream, it's only natural that people walk right on down and they just don't understand that it's not a public place for you to come to. The last thing I'm going to say is what I know about CNC machines is that they have a decibel between 60 and 90 decibels, which is fairly loud. And I'm neurodivergent, so certain sounds just, if they're a steady that doesn't stop, is it's very hard for me to um, ignore them, or even to be able to function if it's an ongoing thing. So that's my concern, is looky-loos all up in my business. Lots of vehicles that are going to block our driveways, turn around, and also the constant hum. In your presentation that you sent out, it's a very beautifully AI done drawing, but I didn't see anywhere in there where you were talking to us, the people who are actually going to be around you. It seemed more like a pitch for the board in the town.
I'm actually happy that that concern got brought up, and something just that I'm thinking about as we go here through this right now is understood on the parking, and that maybe there's some potential mitigation if we were ever to get to a point of vehicles having any impact. Is, there's a large parking lot right now behind Ace Hardware that every time I've gone through looks empty, right? I could certainly take an action and report back on, speaking to the management and seeing, if there was any opportunity for us to park a vehicle over there and take a short walk over. So I understand the parking concern. I like the term looky-loos. I'll use that as well. I mean, what I felt I heard was like a concern of invasion of privacy and stuff like that. In terms of myself and my family, my daughter is a sophomore at WPI. She has talked about potentially coming and working for acceleration engineering. Putting any individual in any sort of a position that they felt uncomfortable, regardless of what it is absolutely not something that we want to do. Just kind of, it goes into the talk of it, when you look at the back of the building, actually, Jim, I'll tell everybody what was the first thing you said when we walked out back that we put back there.
Back where?
In the back, yeah, there's like a little patio area and stuff like that. I mean, so when I looked at the property the very first time, right where the 9 is there, I could see us putting like a small little paper patio and a barbecue. There's only going to be a couple of us there. An opportunity for like a little garden and stuff like that. So in terms of making it a nice little spot, we certainly want to do that. And then, I guess I'll struggle to produce objective quality evidence on the noise right now. Maybe, and just to finish one other thought on who we are and what it is we're trying to do. Acceleration engineering has worked closely. We actually tried very hard for almost 2 years now to keep the business in the town of Norton. We've worked hard with the school system in terms of being a contributor to STEM. So like my daughter, again, is at WPI, and she struggled when she was in high school of there being any sort of a meaningful STEM program. We would like to open up an opportunity to Norton schools if they want to make the commute. It certainly would extend to Bellingham and stuff like that, is if there was meaningful co-ops and projects and experience that people could get. That's certainly something that we want to do. And then acceleration engineering does also contribute to different outreach programs and stuff like that. So, for example, we have one that we're participating with the Boys and Girls Club on July 24th. So, did I miss any categories there?
That's good. There was a gentleman.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. My name is Ronald Gamash. I live at the property 20 South Park Street, South Park and Summer. Could I ask, could you make that a little bit bigger? So this is my house. Lived there since 1960. The floodplain, this is in a floodplain. The floodplain runs right up to the back of my house. So having said that, in a national disaster in this neighborhood where this floodplain comes in, the building sits in a floodplain. Now, if the zoning board opens this up to the AS 9100 spec, I fully wish you success. But if you open it up, there are chemicals that could be introduced under AS 9100, materials and processes at that property that could create a disaster in that neighborhood, in the soil. The river runs directly in back of that property. If that contamination reaches the river, now you're sending all that contamination downstream. The access into that neighborhood.
So I hate to interrupt, but it's important, I think, that we
I don't want him to interrupt. Is he allowed to interrupt, or could I?
Keep going.
Okay. So in that property, the concern is a DOD work in national security. If he has material in that building that are classified, you also have to consider the proper fencing and security and rooms within the building where you can secure the blueprints, secure the information of what you're working on. In the classified world, there are guidelines that have to be followed. This building, this neighborhood, how are you going to secure that building if there's classified work going on? Where are you going to put the dumpster? How's a fire truck going to get down that street if there's a fire at the end of the street? There's a lot that the fire chief needs to comment on, and the zoning board. Honestly, the AS 9100, you're throwing that spec out, but you need to be familiar that that would be a major red flag to the auditors that are going to give the AS 9100. A floodplain, a residential area for that type of building, it's a disaster waiting to happen. You can build that type of facility in a commercial area where it's not a floodplain, and just the opposite would happen. If somebody wanted to build a residential area like Depot Street right next to that facility, that would be a red flag right back at the person trying to do the building. So once you open up zoning to AS 9100, whatever he's doing today, 25 years down the road, he's AS 9100. That opens up what he can do in that facility. And being in a floodplain and the chemicals and the byproducts of any machinery, that facility should not go into our neighborhood. Because it's also on a septic system in the back. And you'd have to make that old septic system Title V, but you're still putting everything in the ground. And just like to flag all of that information. I know it's a lot, but thank you for considering it, and please
talk to the fire chief about AS 9100 for a commercial building.
So,
Thank you.
may I?
Yes.
I appreciate the comments that are made, especially in terms of, from an environmentally, responsible standpoint. AS 9100 is a quality management system. The gentleman that was here earlier who presented on the new project that was being developed, that engineering organization was governed by a standard, likely ISO 9001. AS 9100 is how you conduct your business. It has nothing to do on what business is being conducted, what machines are being used, or what products are going to be there. In addition to that, as we talked about earlier, when we talked about removal of coolants and stuff like that, they are all water soluble substances. There are no solvents, large storage, things like that that's going to leach into the water at any time. And then, so one of the other points, so I want to put a hard nail in that, is that AS 9100 is a quality management system of how you conduct your business. It does not introduce any sort of defined contamination because of it. In addition to that, all of our machines that get used are being done so with a water soluble type of coolant in it. That's something that's been in effect for a number of years. Anything that could potentially be assembled, the US Navy is also very environmentally conscious. It's called STR 4P22, which is what the environmental codes are for items that are going to be used to make sure that they're not detrimental to the environment or off-gas anything that could harm a sailor in a closed area. So I appreciate flagging it and the category of concern, but those are not realistic concerns for that.
And in case of a flood, are there any liquids that could be potentially hazardous?
No, I mean, what the only thing that we would clean things with, and again, I'll go back to like crediting some of the Navy programs and stuff that are there, is we would have like isopropanol alcohol, right? Would be in like a jug on a shelf and stuff like that. There would not be drums of it there. There will not be drums of chemicals there. If there was an extreme flood, so right now of the equipment that we have, right, the tanks are probably about 18 inches tall. So in order to get that water soluble, right, cutting fluid type solution to be introduced to it, you'd be talking about having to exceed like 16 to 18 inches, which is significant. We are aware of the fact that it is in a flood zone. Currently, there's flood insurance paid on it. So one of the things that we've looked at is to some of the stuff that we could do to proactively mitigate what the detrimental impact would be on us if there was to be a flood. For example, some of those things would be like when we finish the walls using FPR, like the fiberglass reinforced paneling, right, like the bottom 2 feet, so that if there ever was a level of water that came in, it would go in there. You know, the ability to put you know, a dry sump or something like that in there in order to reroute flooding. I did not realize that the road flooded as she did to that level. However, whether it's time or sinking or whatever, one of the things that we certainly have looked at is some of the slight elevation differences of the doors and some ways that we could go in and responsibly wash that away to some of the existing catch basins. But that would be like rainwater and stuff like that. That's no water or chemical that would emit from us.
Do you know the condition of just the existing building? Like, would you be doing any
Yeah.
remediation?
You know, I'm really glad that you said that, because of its prior uses, right? If you were to go inside the building right now, it is primarily an oil stained slab. So and it's a really good point, so I'm glad that you sparked that in my mind, right? Like if there was to be a flood right now and we get denied, right? The actual contamination issue that gentleman talked about would actually occur. And so of the remediation of that building, we would be going in and cleaning and preventing any of that stuff that's there right now. So for example, we've already engaged a couple of contractors about coming in and doing like a polished concrete floor or something like that, that would come in, clean that, seal that, and prevent anything that's already existing there from being able to leach out. But you know, from working on cars, bikes, motorcycles, whatever it was. There's currently solvent and oil and gas and different things like that are there.
Any other comments? Yes.
My name is Margaret Davy Dubuque, and I live very close. So we ran. Okay, yes. So we do own up to the building.
11 Central.
11 Central. And in our deed, it says that we have to give a right of way so that you're able to eat the building, get to your backyard. You're right, it has not been kept up at all for a long time. So this house, if you look at our bulkhead, it's right over here. There's a walkway. The woman was named Stella Croto, and I have where she, in 1977, her husband was working at the they built it. And he would walk through on the little walkway right over there. And it was just him, to what I learned, and his machine shop. So that's where all of that oil would have come from. So that was in 1977, and he passed, and she sold it. So it hasn't been a machine shop for a very long time.
I think the motorcycle shop, the most recent, is probably the one that I'm thinking
That's
about.
not the most recent either.
Yeah.
I have a letter from Peter, actually. Can I give you these? You want to look at them?
Can we have the copy of them? They'll be entered into the record, for the project.
Make a copy? Can you make a copy? 'Cause I didn't bring you a copy.
I think there's one upstairs. I'd have to run downstairs.
So this
Must
was
be left alone.
1977. I mean, bring it back and get it tomorrow or something.
We're close to
Or,
our.
yeah, I'm not
observing.
coming. Yeah, that's right. I'm not working.
We're staying in air
But
conditioning.
this was way back in 77, that's when it's a machine shop. This is from Peter. Peter was the motorcycle guy. And he says, here's the paperwork on 11 Summer Street, it was for sale. He thought of buying it. He also writes about the septic system, so maybe that needs to be looked at. I don't know if.
Yeah, that'll be a different board.
Right. And I don't even know if this is what it is. Anyway, there was a cease and desist order back then for the building, so.
Well, yeah, if you can make a copy or come back on Monday.
Come back on Monday, but you get it. I don't need it tonight.
Okay, great, awesome, that'd be great.
Yeah, you guys.
Thank you.
So we're really, really close. We only went to that building. We also took pictures. There's an upstairs window that looks directly onto our deck. Is on that second floor. Everything else, we've planted tall arborvitaes and they grew over the years. I can't see anything else, but just that window. I worry about chemicals and noise. To me, if there's building, because you're gonna be creating things, it's very, very close. Our deck is very close to that border. We put up that fence that's there, the chain link, right by the arborvitaes. Just so the arborvitaes wouldn't die, they can go through that fence, but it's just scary to me. And hearing that it's gonna be, top level, it sounds like a wonderful place. If you're gonna have students to come learn, and that's great, but this is in this tiny neighborhood. We already have Cumberland Farms, which is very busy, East, which is very busy. They have dumpsters that they make a heck of a lot of noise every morning at 6 a.m. waking us up. Bang, but they're taking it out, I don't know. And to have it right behind and that close, it's scary.
Yeah, and so just maybe on the student piece, I mean, we'd be talking about like an occasional, maybe like, some of the thoughts that I have, right, is like, extra class, right? So, or learning class, so call it maybe one Thursday a month or something like that, we open it up. And just try to give, I struggled immensely. There's a movie called, Tommy Boy, and in it, they make a joke that it took Tommy 8 years to go to college, right? And they're called doctors, well, doctors and this guy, right? So I struggled in terms of being a traditional student. And I struggled in terms of there not being like a meaningful way to learn or apply some of the sciences that I was kind of forced to sit as a type A learner to go do, right? And so, the opportunity to occasionally bring in, if it's one student or if it's 5 students, and say, you're doing geometry and here's a real life applicability in terms of how it's going to go. I think certainly something, in terms of like that window, I certainly would be happy to take like an official action to maybe remove that, just to ensure that there was, that privacy remained. And maybe, back to the other comment about who, we are and what we would be to the neighborhood. And I held some of this back because I didn't want to overwhelm people and stuff like that. But I mean, when I look at some of the growth and stuff like that around there, kind of going back to the OCD thing, a lot of that growth has gotten away. And so what I would like to see is like a really nice structured, clean fence that's there. It would have me going to people and asking, hey, would you be okay if we put this nice fence here? The house that's directly in back, you would probably, a contractor would need to be able to access their property, but it's, for lack of better words, it's dilapidated right now. And that killed my OCD. So, just making it clean and nice. I guess I would also to your house right next to it, is just to consider the offset distance of where it would take place. Any of the stuff we're talking about would be just kind of in the heart of the building. And then it is a massive concrete slab and cinder block walls that will get further insulated. I've heard the noise concern a couple of times. And just, I struggle to think that we'll impact the community with. I'll look this way, so.
Okay, I don't know how this works, because this is my first time here. My dad was a machinist. And I remember going to the machine shop, and that's the vision I have. He also made little tiny instruments for submarines. That's kind of funny. But he did it with steel, and there was always these like shredded circular pieces of steel that stuck in your shoes, that they were everywhere. Will it be that? Would you be shaping steel to be part?
So maybe two-part answer, or response is also right now at the building, there's a couple of heaters. It uses a archaic forced water system in terms of heating. But in terms of like compressors and heaters and stuff, we'd like to build an actual room, because I don't want to listen to a compressor run all day. Anybody that's ever been in that type of space. But yeah, the machine equipment will create, I'm gonna call it chips, right? Where it cuts metal and it makes it. But that would all be recovered. So like if you were to look at our machine right now, there's actually a bin. It's called an auger system. So again, everything's contained within a fully enclosed area. It will make chips on the unit that it's machining. The coolant recycles to the back to a contained unit there, and those chips are brought to the front and go down what's called an auger and go into a bin. And so that we will be hyper vigilant on, and hopefully you laugh at the rationale behind it, and that is the cost of metal has become so significant that recovering any of that stuff for recycling and being able to get the metal back since the tariffs, the price of aluminum has more than doubled, right? So like any of that stuff we will capture. And in terms of it like being on the floor and getting stuck in your shoes and stuff like that, I mean, it will be super important for, the type of work that we were talking about is for us just to be hyper clean. So if we would ever have, a customer come in and inspect anything, see anything and stuff like that, it would not look well upon us if it was dirty enough that that type of stuff would be getting caught in your shoes or anything.
Yes, but
My name is Renee Gamache. I actually, 20 South Park Street. I actually own the property. I bought it from my parents, who bought it from their parents, and I know my daughter is gonna end up having it with her grandchildren, with my grandchildren someday. My biggest concern, besides the noise, because being closer to Cumberland Farms, we have that, a lot of noise, but, is the security. He sounds like he's presenting a very small company that has a lot of vision for growth. There's not a lot of room to grow in that small building. Also the type of work it is with the government security. Had a very close family member who did government security work for many years. And I understand the security involved with it. He couldn't even discuss it with anybody. So bringing that into a small neighborhood that has little children riding bikes around the block again, which is so nice to see. I just have a lot of concerns about what this is going to do to our neighborhood. This is a neighborhood, not an industrial area. It's very scary to think about, another 5 or 6 cars coming with more trucks coming. We're going to have a fatality someday in our neighborhood with all this extra traffic, and it's scary to think.
To the security portion of it, because the other gentleman brought that up, right, is acceleration is not going to be a center that's going to be like, if you go drive around General Dynamics, they got, chain link fences with barbed wire. We are not going to have chain link fences with barbed wire. Will we be able to like show blueprints to general people that walk in and stuff like that? We won't, but we're not going to be,
I'm not talking the physical security of the building. I'm talking about the potential of you being a target for doing government work. In a climate where, we're at war all the time, you have to admit that, anybody who does DOT work, you're going to be a target, especially with everything going on nowadays. And that's scary to think of that coming into a tiny little neighborhood.
Heard, because I have certainly a lot of concerns and views of everything that's going on right now, but the type of work that we'll be doing design wise, we would be a low value target of somebody that wanted to come after something. If somebody wanted to impact the US, they would go towards a large prime or somebody that has an end product that would hurt us. To a smaller team making, maybe some pump designs and heat exchanger designs and stuff like that, that would be the case. Then there's 2 other things I just want to touch on is one of my earlier comments, one of the reasons that we said that the building was perfect was because we wanted that small community type deal and not just a steel box out in the middle of nowhere. So that there is an appeal to us to be in, and again, I'll go back to that stewardship of being a good neighbor and stuff like that. There's appeal to us having that. And then, with regard to growth, that's actually something that we've talked about a lot. I'm 47 years old and I 20 years ago, I had ambitions of running a company with hundreds of people, and I no longer have those ambitions. One of the things that's going to be great for acceleration, in particular with bringing that test equipment in particular with some of the support contracts and stuff that we have, is that we can be a strong revenue company with a small team. And so I'm not looking to grow to a multi-100-person company. And if we were, then we would probably outgrow the space and have to move to a different space. But cramming 30 or 40 or 50 people in there is certainly not something that's on my horizon.
Okay, we'll take one more.
You said you wanted to be in Norton. Why aren't you in Norton? How come you can't go there? Go down.
Oh, that is a great question.
So name and address?
Name and address? Leslie Dix, 58 Office Street.
So I lived in Norton my entire life. And to maybe some of my comments about, my kids struggling with some of the STEM programs and stuff like that. One, I used to get up at 3 o'clock every day, leave at 3:30, be at Electric Boat at 5. I did that for many years. It pains me to think about how much time in my life I wasted commuting to and from job. And so the past couple of years where I've been working out of the building that I built on my property, I learned for the first time ever that I could work from home and still be productive. And so I was trying really hard to work close to home and get as much time in my day back as possible to not drive. So I live half an hour away from the building, and that's not terrible. Maybe it's some good decompression time and stuff like that. One of the things that's nice about this building is it did have an complete environmental evaluation done in 2017, 2018, and there is no contamination on it. An area that we've struggled with in looking for property is previous contamination. And so any building that has contamination on it, you're unable to get like a bank loan on and stuff like that. So it grossly limited what we were going to be able to buy just because we lost the ability to get any lending. Probably the other part to that is there's a building that I really wanted. And the gentleman wants like close to $1 million for it. He'll never get it, but he refuses to budge a penny on it. And so people that have these buildings, even with those contamination issues that shut out all these people that have the desire to buy them, but now can't buy them, are all holding out for absolute top dollar. So something from a micro business perspective, because we're not just a small business, we're a micro business. So from a micro business perspective, I'd be getting into a building, 6,000 square feet, doesn't have contamination on it, gives me the opportunity for lending. To the Title V, I can actually speak to that real quick. We'll be able to come through that. Work's been done by the existing owner. And it allows me individually to get into an equity positive position with the building. So instead of like playing this constant catch up of buying $1 million building and putting a $200,000 roof on it and the cost of all those things, something that's super attractive to this is Acceleration Engineering can move in at a reasonable price on a clean piece of property, put some sweat equity and some improvements into it, and be net positive on it versus what exists in Norton, what exists in Attleboro. I've come to learn that Norton and Attleboro were like the jewelry hub of the local area for many years. And there's a significant amount of contamination in the area, to the point that they just pave over it now because there's no other mitigation opportunity for it.
Okay, thank you. Now, is this, I mean, because your current space is too small though, is that essentially it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So we should consider closing the.
Yeah, either closing or continuing, depends if we need the fire marshal to.
I think I'd like some more clarification.
Okay.
I think to me, I feel like I'd like to know that dimension from the property line to the building.
Right.
Rachel, are there other business permits that have been issued? Because there's some confusion about what was the last business. The motorcycle business seems to be the last one, or maybe not.
Yeah, I can ask the probably building commissioner.
Because wouldn't they have
maybe
had
town
to
clerk.
come before the zoning board or no?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm kind of curious
I'll
on
check.
that, but
No, that's a good
I know
point.
before we had an applicant and then it did fall under abandonment because
Yeah,
they didn't have any proof of paying like an electrical or water was shut off for over a period of 2 years.
yeah.
Right.
There-
Wouldn't there be a record of whatever its approved use is today? That property is approved for use for something today. I would imagine that there's gonna be
Yeah, there was-
some
when we-
clearly defined approved use, and then we could look at that
as compared to what this gentleman is.
There was a lot of, the site there's a lot of confusion on it in many aspects when we were looking into it. And again, I know the property card was included
Yeah.
from the assessor. I'm not an assessor, so while it says foreclosure, I don't know if they record when it wasn't in foreclosure anymore. I don't know, how they sort of the threshold for what they put in that. So I'd have to ask her on this as well. But I know at one point in her records, the site was listed as a factory, as well before. So there was a lot of confusion. I do remember that.
I would also, I mean, to
Yeah.
one of the neighbors' comments, I would like to visit the site in person myself too. So that could be just all on our own time.
Right. So in this case, unfortunately for Mr. Herron and the applicant, we might not be able to come to a decision now, just because there are items we'd like to clarify before we make a decision.
Because I feel like even the parking, like, you may be correct of whatever that, but I still would like to establish where your actual property line is relative on the front for parking to the building. Because it looks very close.
Probably with just a site visit, you'll be able to tell where that edge is of the road. And how much
There's not
space you
much
have.
edge.
There's not.
I couldn't
So
tell.
if the other businesses were parking in that way, they were already using it. And then
Blackstone just used it as a garage. They just stored vehicles, old vehicles.
So.
They were never there.
Maybe the site visit would help.
Yeah.
Do you want to get any more comments from the public before continuing, or you want to continue it from here?
Yeah,
So.
might be able to provide us with some additional information.
Yeah,
Oh, that's a good point.
just, also for me to follow up on, where the property lines are located, he's gonna have to, locate that on the site prior to, and once you locate that, let me know. So the board knows what they're looking for when they go out to their site.
Forgive me here,
Yeah.
right, but I just want to make sure that doesn't create a scope of like having to go and hire an independent land surveyor to come in and place marks and stuff. And it should be on the GIF.
No, it won't be, it won't be on the GIS. These are not survey, grade. These aren't on the ground, located on the ground.
And
This
so,
is just this could be 5 or 10 feet off. GIS is for planning purposes only, not for, engineering work.
The issue of parking is a big question
It's
that we all
critical,
have.
yeah.
So we need to understand and define, I understand your concern, but we have to see, what's the parking
I mean,
on the plans,
Yeah.
what's it?
Yeah. There, in the deed for the property, they might reference a plan,
Right,
and the plan may also say, oh, there's an iron pin or there's a concrete bound, and if he can find that, he can locate it, per that deed plan, and you wouldn't need a surveyor, again, as a former surveyor, and put in my, whatever. You always want an on-the-ground survey, but, if it is easily delineated, you can clearly see where the edge is, by those markers, then that's something.
I guess we just have to express being disappointed to hear that as an action. I mean, some of the things I've done in order to have this opportunity is, I've split the mortgage payment with the current owner for 2 months in order to make it to this meeting, right? And so I'll incur another mortgage payment in order to have it. I know that there's been other people that have looked at it and have walked away. I don't know what the time and the total cost will be on engaging a land surveyor and potentially finding marks and stuff like that, but it becomes anecdotal and not, definitive. I don't mean it to sound like,
One of the big issues that we deal with is the parking and, and how it affects the neighbors, the neighborhood. So that's something that's actually very important to us.
yeah, I guess maybe where I'm going with that is I think I've addressed the parking. I think I provided a couple of parking solutions and alternatives and talked about the number of people that were going to be there. What else is going to happen to this property? The town of Bellingham is owed $20,000 back taxes on it. The building has been left neglected for a number of years. I've gone so far in terms of showing good faith to make this a positive effort is to paying the mortgage payment in order to be able to get to this meeting, right? There's been a lot of good faith put in on my part to make this happen, so.
Yeah, if I might share, just the zoning board, we have to go by the bylaws, and that's just our job,
Yeah.
so. Just to,
So by-
and just to read just let me finish this point, just, to read the bylaw. Sections that at least apply to this, it's, change, extension, or alteration to the dwelling may be altered or extended, provided that doing so does not increase the non-conforming nature of said structure. Other pre-existing non-conforming structures or uses may be extended, altered, or changed in use on special permit for the Board of Appeals, if the Board of Appeals finds that such extension, alteration, or change will not be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing non-conforming use. Once changed to a conforming use, no structure or land shall be permitted to revert. But that's the point we're trying to address, and that's what we're here for. We need to protect the abutters from having bad parking, noise, any dangers or.
And I guess I feel that I mitigated that
Right.
I believe that I have submitted sufficient objective evidence that this will be no more intrusive. I believe much less intrusive, but this will be no more intrusive than previously approved uses.
So in this case, sorry for taking time. I don't know how the rest of the board feels, but if we were to limit the parking spots to 3 in front of the house, and having good signage of where and telling any visitors not to wander around to meet the public's concerns, and would that be acceptable in lieu of having him have to have survey? We make sure that you can only have 3 that are parallel to the building. Maybe that we can meet halfway, because I know that the applicant might not want to spend more money if ultimately it's going to be denied.
I believe that applicant has the right to call for a vote, right? If they do not wish for a
Yes.
continuance.
And yes,
Right. Or rescind the application and.
yes, they can
Instead
withdraw
of
without,
applying,
yeah,
withdraw without prejudice.
yes. If the board, needs more information and no information is coming, that is, that is a cause for a denial as well.
So I guess from my perspective, I just would like more information about what was previously approved to be used at the site, because we don't have any documentation on what was actually approved under any previous special permit. So either those businesses were operating without a permit,
Hmm.
and
And in one case, it appears that may have been the case.
right,
Yeah.
so when we're saying this change may or may not exacerbate the non-conforming use, that's my sticking point. It's not really about the parking necessarily, it's
Very important.
what was approved before, and do we have documentation somewhere about these businesses? You do?
We do, it's on that card. It was previously approved for factory manufacturing usage.
But wouldn't a
And
motorcycle business have to have a special permit if wouldn't they have had to have come before the zoning board?
It depends on how long ago it was happening.
Okay, okay.
To this gentleman who doesn't have a name, but I'm so sorry.
Right.
But to Ryan, right, and in particular, in terms of that, trying to extend that good stewardness to the neighbors, I think that there are opportunities to park close by in some larger municipal parking lots and stuff like that. That's something that we can mitigate. If there was, you said 3, I was thinking 5. If we said no more than 4 vehicles, I think you have a dedicated parking spot where that yellow line is right now. That certainly my truck would completely disappear in, and that would be 3 vehicles out there. I think that that's a positive compromise that would allow us to move forward if we were to put some limit like that on there.
But still, throwing it out there, it could still get denied, but it's up to the full board.
I guess is the card that you're referencing at the back here? Cause it looks like there's there's a little thing that says narrative. Description, it says parcel contains 0.23 acres of land mainly classified as one family with a garage building built about 1950.
Foreclosure was on 2016.
That's why I was curious about it.
Was it
Seems
not
like
used
it's
between
been-
2016 for back 10 years?
I agree, yeah, I
The
agree.
zoning
Yeah.
and then the.
Well, yeah, if you go
Zoning
on the sales information, it does, went into foreclosure, yes, but 96, 97, 2000, 2018, there is some sales
Oh.
back and forth.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Thanks. But in short, it might be difficult for the board to come to a decision easily without that history, those sales for 2018, 2024.
It does say in the town produced documentation in one location, and I don't have it in front of me, it does identify manufacturing as a previous use. It is someplace in that information package that you have.
I'd read it, but I don't know if it was kind of like a.
Yeah.
Mission statement. No, it was written in.
Yeah, I remember that being.
It was written into the permit, but I don't know if I saw like a official description of it. But with this information, would you have different options with withdraw without prejudice, force a vote?
I mean,
Continue.
So if I ask for the vote and it's denied, would that would close it and I'd have to restart the whole process over again if I wish to redo it?
Like you have to wait 2 years.
You have to wait
Correct, yeah.
2 years if it gets
Well,
denied.
yeah.
If you
Yeah.
withdraw without prejudice, then you can come back within much shorter.
Yeah.
I think that I probably need to move on. So I think I would ask for the vote, and if it wasn't meant to be, then it wasn't meant to be. I guess I would caveat that again with I think the thing that was, I think from an objective quality evidence standpoint, especially with the previously being classified manufacturing, the use case of it, we are not exceeding any of those previously approved use cases of the building. I understand the community concern about parking and stuff like that. And so in a way to try to contribute to that concern, I would be willing to say, a maximum number of vehicles that could be parked there, 4 vehicles. I would also be open to hearing any of the feedback from the people that express some of that concern, just to see that on there. But I think if we were to put that bound on there, I would likely ask for a vote. Just because I need to be able to move forward, and I won't be able to invest months into trying to appease that concern, only for it to hang out as a liability.
Still understand. So in that case.
We'll just do it definitely would be months, just waiting for some clarification.
Well, yeah, you only meet once a month.
Yeah.
Once a month.
All right, sure.
And, yeah, and then with him leaving, we would then only have 4 members of the board, and it's a special permit, so you need 4 out of 5, so you would have to have a unanimous vote.
Raise your last one.
I think August, you said you
I
need.
can
Yeah.
meet in August, can meet next month as well. Remotely.
Does it mitigate your concern on the parking at all to limit the total number of allowed vehicles?
Yeah, but I still would like to see what, like, the fire department would think. It's supposed to be an inspection anywhere, but we haven't heard anything.
Did the
Right.
fire department have the opportunity to review the special permit application and took no action on it?
So there were no comments as what was said earlier in the meeting, and
Yeah,
we're not sure
I'll
whether
double
they
check that.
looked or didn't. Okay.
But, so let me ask from a quality management standpoint in AS, is there a process by which a special application or a special permit is submitted and it goes to those departments, and by process, should the fire department have done so? And so by process, that means where we are now is that there was either a process violation or they had no comments to it.
No, there's nothing, so we send them out. I'll have to, again, I have to check. I can't see right now from what I'm able to access. When it was sent out, if it was sent out, if they just didn't, there's nothing within there. The department heads don't have X amount of days in order to respond to or request for comments. they can respond to comments at any time, and so long as the public hearing is still open.
And it's been my experience that an applicant would reach out to them if that was gonna be an area of concern to help prompt, their investigation, and then also
Yeah.
just so that you have some information before you make a decision on what you wanna ask us to do. I've only been on the board a short period of time. I've been on other boards. And I've never seen a request like this without an actual finalized drawing, much like the one that you saw prior, that would have identified, here's exactly what I'm asking for. Here's the parking, here's this. You have quite a bit of information here, and I'm generally, I like what you're trying to do. But, it's not as complete as what I'm accustomed to seeing.
Well, I guess I'm gonna take a bit of strong exception to that, is that I have a little bit of frustration with the application process. And that I really had to push. I think if you were to speak to the town manager, yeah, you would probably support the fact that I had to push in order to get it through the process. I asked a couple of times for, a definitive process by which it was all gonna happen. The white paper that you have in front of you that explains what our project scope is, I wasn't even informed it was a requirement until after the special permit had already been issued. Right, so to hear with the level of effort and due diligence I was put in to get feedback saying you have an incomplete or perceived incomplete application is super frustrating to somebody that went above and beyond in order to do it.
Well, I mean, I'll say that, yeah, again, from my experience, that this is like, I appreciate what you're trying to do. It's a very irregular site though. So from past projects I've seen, we're not trying to hinder what you're trying to do, but there is the neighborhood around it, and then we don't want to further create more nonconformity. So it's usually to do due diligence, because if we just
Okay,
didn't do that diligence, it's gonna live on with the property. And potentially have longer term impacts.
and so you feel I have not done that due diligence and proven that it's going to be less intrusive than what it was previous.
Well, I think to me, there's a few areas that are not clear.
So to me, in the middle would, maybe the board can put certain contingencies. So let's say a vote goes out, it could be denied, but a vote for approval would be contingent of fire marshal has to approve. There has to be proof that the previous use would not exceed that of a mechanical garage. Would that be something, a workaround around this?
Is there still, I mean, I still feel abandonment as a big.
That's number 3 for
Right,
me,
yeah.
because a part of it, if it was abandoned for more than 2 years.
I mean, and that's no fault of your own,
That's
but
not
I mean,
your
I
fault.
feel like that is something.
Right.
That puts this
Yeah.
application more difficult, yeah.
But the
Yeah.
current owner, it hasn't been abandoned, right? He has, he's on the deed. He has an active mortgage against the property. The property is not in an abandoned state.
If it's dilapidated and falling apart, I mean, in a previous, I don't know, I mean, we'd have to look into it, but sometimes it qualifies as if you can produce a bill. Have they been paying water bills? Have they been paying
They
electric
have been
bills
paying,
monthly?
yeah, no, they have been paying, because I've met with the gentleman involved, so they have been paying the water bills. Because that was mentioned just the other day, they have been paying flood insurance on it, have been paying insurance on the building. I believe that the reason that the gentleman that owns it right now, why it's in a back tax situation is he was engaging with the town, that he felt that tax liability against the building should be lowered. And as a matter of fact, I can't remember her name. I met with her and spoke to her. But the tax liability on the building for calendar year 2027 is planned to be reduced as a result of her site visit. And so I think he was waiting on that to see what the outcome of that was going to be.
A tough position. Yeah, for the board to be in, so just, as a warning, there might not be enough information here for the board to comfortably accept it, but you still choose to force a vote, right?
Can I ask the public a question?
through the
That has to go
board.
to the board.
You can ask the board and
To the
then,
board, to the public. Does it help mitigate some of your concerns, particularly around parking, if there was a constraint on the number of cars of there will need to be a UPS truck, there will need to be a delivery vehicle, we will have to be certainly cognizant of that. Does that help mitigate your concern, if there was a limit in terms of the total number of vehicles that could go there?
if anybody would like to address
Just
that.
add, from the ear, it doesn't look, but this is a really tight neighborhood. Very, very small, the road's small. If there were a fire, the whole neighborhood would go up. And see where that tree line is? Those are all wetlands, all of that. There's no way that, even when that motorcycle shop was in there, we've been there for 30-something years. There wasn't much going on there. Those roads are, like she said, in disrepair. Again, it's right up against Peters River. If you guys just took a drive down, like Wayne said, and looked at the site, I don't understand how in a business mindset, you could walk in and say, this is a perfect neighborhood for a business, because it's not. It's very tight, very compressed. Again, we're all jammed up against Peters River.
It's a nice place for our business, which is not gonna be mass manufacturing. It's, we'll call it an R&D lab with a tight group of people that are gonna work on engineering designs, making maybe 1 or 2 ops and stuff like that. It's not, we're not
So
building
it
a
seems there
car.
are still some concerns that would be maybe the answers your question, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think I would like to move forward with the vote just
Okay.
because,
I don't even freeze this. So there was the fire inspection, there's the parking, and there was the back.
You want to close the public hearing? Are we done?
Yeah, we can.
Or if you.
Since we're not continuing, yeah, so I'll make a vote to close the public. A motion, sorry, make a motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye. All right, so now we can discuss it.
Pass.
So, yeah, in this case, yeah, well, I feel like there would be, if there was a vote to accept it, and I was just gonna go through, we're gonna have a list of that Rachel would need to put together, which would include, was it abandoned? We'd have to put conditions that it wasn't abandoned for more than 2 years. No more than 3 parking spaces, parallel in the front. That it was, the previous use was mechanic repair shop and nothing else. And perhaps, data about the noise, the CNC machine would have. Those would be my initial thoughts, among, I'm sure, other things that would probably come up. So, I'll just go for it. Make a motion to approve the special permit with at least those 4 requirements. In addition to, approval by all the members after visiting the site, before next month, and, being okay with it. But I'll make the motion to approve, and we'll see if it passes or not.
So those 4 were the fire marshal approval,
Fire marshal approval,
3 parallel parking spots.
no more than 3 parallel parking
The
spots,
property hasn't been abandoned for
more than 2 years,
2 years.
and no more than 5 employees is what was mentioned.
could we not put an employee limit on it?
We can't condition that.
Family? I don't.
Yeah, we can say that.
Okay, that's fine. I was just wasn't
Yeah.
sure. That's fine.
So there were 3, but there was a 4th one.
Determining use, or what's manufacturing.
Yes.
Yeah,
right,
determining,
right,
making,
right.
yeah, confirming that the
Approved.
previous use was mechanical garage and nothing more.
Right.
Or less, actually. Because if it was less, that would limit his special application, because it would be more non-conforming. See what I mean? But anyhow,
a lot of
You're in the middle of a vote, so I.
yeah,
No,
so,
it's okay, but there's a lot of hanging questions with all that.
Right.
And the use part is what you need to make a decision. So, right.
So it'll be tough,
Well, I mean, you're in the middle of the vote.
but we're making an assumption, you know,
Yeah.
I'm saying, you know, we'll
You want
vote.
to finish the vote and then enter into deliberations on that vote?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other recommendations for additions?
I mean, the only thing and I know that this is your choice to do the vote. I mean, I know, I feel for you with the sharing the mortgage, but I also, to doing the continuance for a month. I think there is a sign of good faith with that, and I think that it's a little due diligence we're asking, and I think that,
Public hearing's been closed.
okay.
I mean, you can.
I'll just
you can't
comment
take
to
it-
ourselves.
Yeah.
That I think you're going out on a limb a little bit, so, but I think you covered,
Yeah, those are the main ones I would think of.
like surveying is typically like 1,000 to 2,000 potentially.
Mhm.
This, I think is such a challenging site. I mean, you'd be really hard pressed to kind of, to me,
Mhm.
to kind of have everything figured out or kind of together for a one night vote, to me. I mean, I think there's a lot, I mean, as you said, Don, that's kind of,
What's ever gonna happen with this building, if I don't try to make something meaningful out of it, it's gonna.
Yeah, they're in it's stopped, they're in the middle, they should be finishing up the vote.
Right.
Did you go approve or?
So that's okay, that's.
Yeah, it didn't,
So I just made.
if that failed.
I'll get faith, and if there's no second, then.
any other discussion? I guess that's the time. If there's none, then we do the second.
He doesn't seem like he seems like he would be fine if it, if it goes either way.
Talk about.
I mean, he's moving to California, so he doesn't care.
I do care.
No,
No, to me.
he won't be hurt.
If one of the stuff, no, of course I'm on the zoning board.
No,
I
no.
volunteer for that reason. But it's, because it's a CNC, machine and it's one machine and the equipment that's going in is just through a van and all of that. And then just I'm not looking at the GIS. I've worked in GIS before. The lines don't match. So I imagine I'm looking at the other car. If you move it and put it parallel, it will fit. It's a long 80-footer. So I'm just using those ideas, but ultimately the big question of what was it used for before?
Yeah, I mean, it was used for a lot of things. I mean, I guess I don't necessarily need like, I'm just surprised there's no other permitting for the previous usage, or maybe I shouldn't be surprised about that, but here nor there, it was other things, right? And, these types of advanced manufacturing companies, there are only certain buildings they can use. They all have very specific power needs. And, we work with companies like that all the time at my firm, and there's just only so many places they can go. So, that's not necessarily helps in this situation, but that is kind of the reality of these types of firms.
And what's the other option? It's going to stay abandoned, and I don't know. I feel like for the neighbor.
I had two other people come to the town, wanting to do something, but they backed away for the back taxes. And they didn't go the extra step in trying to get a waiver. Not saying, or it could sit abandoned, I'm just, who knows?
Yeah. So I'm basing my decision off of all those facts, and the name of the previous company that owned it was Mechanical Garage. So I assume it's exactly what it is for. So I'm just making those assumptions and just with my motion was to confirm those and approve accordingly, because it's most likely going to be that. Yeah. Okay. I think I'll just move with that motion and those requirements in addition to any typical special permit requirements we add.
Okay, so I do.
So we'll just see if anybody
If
seconds.
there's any other.
Yeah.
Is it? Or
It has not been seconded. He went right into deliberation.
Right. I'll second it.
Second the motion to approve it with those requirements.
Now we vote.
And now we vote.
You might want to, should we do a roll call?
We gotta do a roll call, so we'll go one by one.
They closed
Oh.
the public hearing, so we can't
start,
speak anymore.
to yay for me with those requirements.
I vote yay with those requirements.
Does that have to be unanimous?
No.
4 out of 5.
It's a special permit, so it's a 2/3 vote, so you need 4 out of 5.
Okay.
If it doesn't meet the threshold of that, then you go to the next vote, which would be to deny, and then, on that.
I vote nay.
No, yes.
I really want to support this. I mean, I really do. But I have to vote nay. And I really want to support it. But there's too many unknowns. I feel like, we don't know what the answers are gonna be, and then who's gonna make, let's say the fire chief comes back and says, well, there's this and there's that, you gotta take these 2 things into consideration, doesn't say anything explicit. Now what do we do?
Right, if
It has to pass.
Right,
fire code.
so-
It has to pass.
No,
fire
I understand.
inspection.
So,
So now you do a vote to deny.
So since the,
Since the approval didn't
approval
pass, you
didn't
do a
pass.
vote to deny.
now we go to the nine.
Okay, so
how does that work?
But doesn't it automatically get
Nope.
denied if it doesn't pass?
No, because yeah. So somebody may now want to change their vote to nay as
Right.
well.
No.
right, so
Just because you
So
voted
deny-
one way the first time doesn't mean you have to vote the same way this time. Yeah,
Is 2/3 3 out of? No.
no, 4 to 5.
okay, I don't know what to say.
So I guess Don, maybe you wanna make a motion to deny it in that case.
I really don't, like I said, I really didn't want to deny it.
I think there's a draft of all of the options for you, if you wanted to entertain a motion. In the red. I gave you options for everything, every foreseeable.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, okay. I'll entertain a motion to deny the special permit applicant themselves. Find that there was proposed use will be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than existing non-conforming use. And that does not satisfy the special permit criteria contained in chapter 240 of the Bellingham zoning bylaws.
Okay.
Second that.
Anybody who wants to move with the motion right first, because you're entertaining it.
Oh, yeah.
Tough one. Given that it was not approved, I'll switch my motion. I'll switch, since it's not gonna pass anyway, since it's not meeting the requirements.
What would happen is that you would go to another meeting and you would take the vote again.
Right.
That's essentially that's only what attorneys have told me. I've never actually experienced it, but man, you guys have given me lots of firsts. That's
Yeah.
great. Thanks.
So we're being forced to vote, it's this rare occurrence, that's why.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've made the motion.
I made the motion to deny it now, switched. So I need a second. And then you can vote on it. As a nay, as a denial now. So it'll be a yay for denying it.
Yes. So you're voting to deny. So if you say yay, that means you are voting yay to deny. If you vote nay,
Okay.
you're voting no to deny.
I was convinced by it.
So. I guess we have this.
Do we have a second?
Second, I guess.
Alright. Roll call, yay to deny it.
Nay to deny it?
Mhm.
Yay. To deny it.
What, do we still need 2/3 vote and then deny?
Yes, it's a super majority.
It's almost like stalemate.
Nay.
And I wouldn't say nay,
Okay.
because I wanted more information. so.
Right.
Yep.
So-
Not gonna
We're
know.
really challenging your new role.
I to deny, you're saying
Nay.
I to deny. Yes?
I'm saying nay.
Nay to deny? You
Yeah.
don't want to deny it.
No,
because I want more
wants more information.
You're not gonna get, you're not gonna get any more
I want more
information because
information,
the
and he can
public
decide
hearing,
whether he wants to go.
the public hearing has already been
I'm
closed.
sorry.
You can't take any more information. The public hearing has been closed. You cannot take any more new information on the application.
Right. So you,
So it's either approval or denial because the public hearing has closed. So any public comment or any new information
From the app.
cannot be.
Can I just make a
Or no, nothing at all. I can't provide new
take it,
information.
sorry.
Residents can't provide new information. The public hearing has been closed.
Can I make
And so he would have to go through the whole process
Okay, well,
again. on
I'd just like to say that I'm on the finance committee and on the capital improvement committee. I've never seen a meeting like this before. This is embarrassing,
it's been denied.
totally embarrassing.
Excuse, this is, it's.
That's my two
It's a
cents.
closed, it's a closed hearing. Thank you. We
Okay.
can talk about it afterwards. Once we're done with the meeting, we can talk about it afterwards.
Okay, no, sorry, no comments.
That's closed to the public.
All right, so, do you still stick to that vote?
No, they'll say aye.
Okay. So
Aye to deny.
application, so that's super majority, so,
Is it? No.
oh, was it two names?
Mhm.
Oh, my goodness. This thing. How do we move forward?
You would have to go to another meeting and vote again on it. I'll have to double check with town council at this point now, but close the public hearing. You have 90 days to make a decision, on it. So,
But there's nothing to be done whatsoever.
Nope.
So
correct.
gotta
this
change
point.
my vote then now. No.
No.
That's it? All right, so.
You can, yeah, we can vote again at the next meeting. But the public hearing is closed, so no new information can be taken.
We're sorry about the stalemate. That doesn't happen often.
You know, what I have,
You just drive around the neighborhood, take a circle and you'll look and see the streets.
You'll see what we're talking about.
Yeah,
We appreciate your time and your patience. Thank you so much.
I wish the town manager is here. I have objective quality evidence of false information being provided to me when I first initiated this entire process. I followed through with it, right? I submitted the special permit. I paid for the special permit. I paid for the abutters. I'm not taking objection to it, but I'm showing due diligence, right?
That's,
I paid for, hold on, I paid for the newspaper articles. I paid for 2 months mortgage in order to make it to this point. I would like you to drive by the building. I've driven by the building with my kid, with my wife, with my father.
Unfortunately, we
not
can't
my-
take any more information. I apologize.
no,
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 you
Apologize.
have,
We can't take any more
you
information.
have
We closed it.
done the town of
by the law.
Bellingham wrong, because when you drive by tomorrow, or when you drive by 3 years from now, it's gonna look the same.
Understood.
So
And
Good-
that's
good luck
that's why it's a
finding
vote.
someone.
That's why it's a vote.
That's not an
It's
easy.
not one person. It's a very simple vote.
okay,
We appreciate what you're doing and we appreciate.
you will continue to be in the situation that you are. It's unfortunate with the level of effort, because you will struggle to find someone who puts that level of effort in.
Appreciate being here.
Next item.
One more item?
Yep.
No, two, no, there's 3 more items. Yeah. One more public hearing.
I vote yay.
Yes, it's 70 Prospect Street.
Yeah.
So motion to open the hearing for 70 Prospect Street, special permit for the kennel.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for your patience. That was a long one.
But it was very, very interesting, very interesting.
So if you don't
I don't
mind
know what to do.
stating your name and address.
Catherine Delatory, 70 Prospect Street.
Yeah. And if you just want to quickly give us a summary of the application for the special permit for the kennel.
I have 5 dogs. I'm allowed 4. I'd like to get the kennel license just to have that one. I am not gonna open a kennel. I just want the 5. I should have taken, my dog died and I had 4. And one died and I happened to come across puppies
what are they, schnoodles? And, and, they're usually over $1,000 a piece. The lady had 2 left. She said, I'll give them to you for $4.50. And I had to take it. I mean, she wasn't gonna make me take it. I had to take the other one, and somebody said I could try to get a kennel license. And
So you have them now with
yes,
you and you realized, okay, I need a special permit for this, so.
yes.
Um,
Well,
Are you
I knew I needed it.
Mm.
I was bad.
Cause you're allowed 4,
right,
and then you're just seeking to get one more
Right,
for the kennel. Okay. And you said, yeah, it's just for your own.
just
It's not-
my own.
Yeah, the term kennel keeps being used, is that
It's used
just-
for, yeah.
generally?
Once you have 5 dogs, it's.
Yeah.
consider
Oh,
it kind of,
okay.
license.
That's a relatively recent change. I mean, just, the Board of Health voted on it this year, the 2026.
Kennel is one.
And it limited the number, so.
And this was, so the, all the abutters were notified for this, right, Rachel?
Correct.
Okay.
So, I mean, nobody's.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have fencing, go.
We did have, we reached out for these, we reached out to the ACO. The ACO did provide comments that they'd like you to continue the hearing because she would like to be present. We did have a few neighbors call, it was maybe 1 or 2, I didn't take the call, but I believe it was one person that I thought was gonna show up, did have complaints about, noise, and the ACO did also in a letter that I believe is included in email, did receive, noise complaints, from on the property. And so she just asked, they're on vacation, you know, cause it's,
Understandable.
you know, July 4th weekend, you know, in case anybody,
Noticed.
you know, noticed that. So that way she could attend the next, meeting and provide comment.
And it would be, you'd be just sticking with 5 total.
That's it,
Going forward,
Okay.
yeah.
that's it, no.
No
Do you
more-
have any other animals?
7 chickens
Okay.
and a cat.
So, would you be okay if we continue the hearing?
Yeah.
For next month, you'd be okay
I have
with
no
that?
choice.
We appreciate your patience.
Yeah.
I think that would be the best
Yeah.
way to go
But I
about
don't
it.
understand, like I said, I don't understand the noise, cause my dogs bark if people walk by, but once they're done walking by,
Right.
they're quiet, they're protecting their property, but they're not, I mean, you hear dogs barking all over the neighborhood and
Same
everything.
with every neighborhood, when I
Yeah.
would used to walk my dogs, same thing, they bark in their.
Yeah.
walkers. But we just wanna give the abutters the chance to
Oh,
show
yeah.
up if they want to, they might not show up again. But also really it's for animal control to also have a say in this, because this is their,
And they said they would like
and they
to.
would like to do that, they requested it,
Yeah.
so it's only fair to continue the hearing.
Okay, now, I got this in the mail today, should I pay it? It's from I don't know who I get it to.
Just failure to license the dog. I think that's for the dog license one, at least.
But it's for the kennel thing, cause it's 75 for as,
5 to 10, I see.
yeah, so, that's why I thought it was kind of saying it approved.
So yeah, I think that would just be with the town clerk's office, I think if you call them, they'll
So it
clarify.
could go up Monday and,
Yeah, I think if you just go to them or you call the phone number, they'll clarify exactly what that is. I think that's just a payment thing. But this special permit is just to have them and approve it. You might tell them, oh, I applied for the special permit, do I have to pay now or later? They'll have that information.
alrighty.
Yeah, sorry for complicating it, but I'll make a motion to continue. But actually, you want to entertain a motion? Go ahead.
I'll entertain a motion to continue the public hearing for the special permit application for 70 Prospect Street for August 3rd, 2026 at 7 PM.
So move.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much.
So I gotta wait the whole time for that.
Next time, bring
popcorn.
Yeah.
First?
Yeah, we will do that next time.
Yeah, you will.
Now we gotta wait another month.
Oh, you know.
Oh.
Actually, I think I'm gonna go away that week
fine.
on vacation.
Oh, yeah, you did mention that.
I'll be here.
I'll probably be remote, yeah.
I'm not sure actually.
Okay.
Third? It was the sixth or third?
Third, I think.
Sick.
Is it?
Approval of meeting minutes.
This is August sixth.
This is third, this is sixth. Which one is it?
I think it's six. Probably.
It's the first Thursday. See, I just made it another meeting for us. You know, all that time.
It's the
was prepared and-
So it is the sixth? Yeah.
It says, well,
CBA?
the notes you wrote up for him said the third.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
The
It's
sixth.
fine. All these great notes and the ones I didn't read.
Yeah. It's always, that's what they get you on, but you didn't do this. Thanks a lot, guys. That's it. I should just pack it in. My planning career's over. That's fine.
That's.
Yeah,
Meeting minute approval?
I have nothing.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, I didn't have any,
Oh, yeah, I did. I read through it. My name was wrong.
Again.
I was Robert, I think. In this round.
Yeah, everybody's really trying to get Rob back. Sorry, guys, you're stuck with me.
That was all I had to do there.
I didn't, I couldn't find them.
Oh, they're on the.
well, they're also printed.
They're printed.
Oh, all right.
Here.
Remember, most of them moving together.
No, it was more like, he doesn't care if you like, you're not gonna hurt his feelings. So he's like, fine, I'm leaving
Oh, that's
anyway.
true.
That was
I'm
what I
not gonna be
meant.
here.
But I was like, I'm not gonna go into it.
I know. No rushing that.
I missed my chance. It's too late for me, guys. I'm not,
Yeah.
this is late.
Yeah, it is. That's just fun.
So, yeah, I read through it, same.
Yeah, no, I don't have any changes to it right now.
Yeah. but-
We'll make a motion to approve the minutes as written with the change, that
Correction of the.
Mr. Dixon, yeah, correcting the name Mr. Dixon, recommended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Motion, yeah, motion closed. That's it, right?
Yeah,
At 9:39.
second the motion?
I'll
Well,
second the, close the meeting.
Go ahead.
All in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Sorry, I was.
Thank you, Rachel.
I
All good.
need my pickup.
Feel like I made it.
I really like what you did though, that taught me something. I didn't take how you were processing that. I learned from what you were trying to do.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to, it's just, if he had made one free